Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Outs here. It's Friday, and I'm freaking out because I feel like people are too pessimistic about Raptors' chances against Cleveland in the first round. I feel like people are not being right with this. And I blame perception makers. I blame ESPN. I blame the media. I blame all these other people. We beat them 3-0 this year, Raptors Nation. Why are y'all thinking that we're going to get our ass beat by Cleveland so easily? Why are y'all actually thinking this? I really do feel like at this point in time, there are so many wolves in sheep clothing all over the internet at this point that the internet is useless. The internet is useless. You know, I'm more useful because you can see me and you can hear me and you can hear what I'm saying. But people that are behind keyboards that are anonymous are not representing themselves correctly. They are not who they are, some of them. A good example is this. I just noticed this morning that all over Toronto Tempo Reddit, there's already a huge campaign of people that are coming in and slamming Kia Nurse and saying things like, oh, Kia Nurse should be on this team. Let's get rid of Kia Nurse right now. I think that Kia Nurse isn't good enough. All this bullshit. We haven't even played a game. And the campaign against getting Kia Nurse off of the Toronto Tempo is already enacted. And part of it's probably because they saw her glowing and so happy that she gets to fulfill a dream. These are dream crushers. These are assholes. These are people that don't like Toronto, don't like Kia Nurse, don't like the Tempo, don't like the Raptors, and they want to see good things go away for people that are happy. They do this shit to RJ. Do this shit to Yak. They did this shit to Pascal way back. Anybody who expresses happiness to be in Toronto that says, I want to be on the Raptors, I want to be on the Tempo, immediately there's wolves in sheep clothing, fake ass social media people coming out with all kinds of techniques, whether it's trade him, whether it's, oh, he's washed, oh, he shouldn't be on the team, she shouldn't be on the team. It's the same actions. And the Tempo, for me right now, are a good test area to test some of these theories because nothing's happened with them yet. And this activity is already going on, whether it's the people talking about tanking already for the Tempo. Like, what the fuck is that? And people coming at Kia Nurse just because she's from Canada. She's from Hamilton, and she had a dream as a little girl to play for a professional basketball team out of Toronto. And she's getting to fulfill that dream. So all the people come out with their bullshit and their posts and their opinions and shit like that. If you're a Canadian person and you're already talking about how you don't want Kia Nurse on the team, fuck you, is what I would say to you. In some ways, being ultra competitive and looking at all the money and the salary cap and all that kind of bullshit, the Twitter GMs, as Sandro called you yesterday, you're idiots. Because look, you're not managing the team. Bobby manages the team. Monica manages the team. You're not managing the team. And in some ways, you know what? It's not all just about absolute crazy competitive, like cutthroat kind of competition mentality. Some of it is about community outreach. Some of it is about establishing culture and history and important milestones, like Kia Nurse being the first Canadian of the Toronto Tempo. It's not all about just going for the championship and being cutthroat and saying, yeah, this and this and this and yak this and that and that. Seriously, y'all are idiots. And everybody who's trying to manage the Toronto Raptors or the Toronto Tempo needs to shut the fuck up. I'm sick of your shit. I'm sick of your shit. You are not GMs in the NBA. You are not GMs of the Toronto Tempo. So I'm sick of your shit. Shut the fuck up. Put down the keyboard and go fuck it outside. Because I'm sick of your shit. And I'm sick of the pessimism around the Raptors and their chances against Cleveland. Because they're going to show y'all. Seriously, these guys don't know what the fuck y'all are saying. Your stupid ass noise. They don't hear it because they are in their circle of trust and they don't go outside of it to listen to your bullshit. Sometimes they do and they laugh at it. Like Sandro said yesterday in the interview. Yeah, I'll go on Twitter sometimes and see what they're saying. The Twitter GMs. Some days they want to ship me out. Some days they want to keep me. Sometimes I'll read that just to get fire to come out in the next game and say, yeah, you want to ship me out? I'll show you what the fuck you're talking about then. I'm just sick of this shit. Negativity and fan nations needs to fucking go die somewhere over the hill. I'm just sick of it. You guys want to cheer for teams? Cheer for them right. Be fans and stop trying to be GMs because y'all aren't GMs. I'm not stupid enough to try and do Bobby's job. I don't do that on this channel. People that watch the Raptor Freak channel, I'm not trying to do Bobby's job. Sure, I may have ideas and suggestions, but I don't get all in a tizzy because, oh, I'm so mad at this. Bobby did this. Bobby did that. No, I don't get like this. I'm very happy with my team and getting to root for them and seeing how they compete and how they challenge themselves and go to new levels. But some of y'all think your job description entails GM, and I'm sick of this shit. Fucking get over yourself. It's your ego that tells you you know how to fucking run the Raptors better than Raptors GM Bobby Webster. It's your fucking ego. And all the bullshit y'all have been saying since we won the championship, all you Johnny-come-lately fans that came after we won, after we did all the hard work before. Happy birthday, Dwayne Casey. After we did all the hard work before, y'all showed up after we won it, and y'all act like y'all are so great and shit. You didn't do jack shit to come up the climb with us. You just took the spoils after we got it. Half y'all fans that showed up after the championship need to shut the fuck up because you don't know shit about the NBA. You don't know shit about GMing, and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. God forbid one of the Raptors or Tempo are Canadian and they express that they're so happy living their childhood dream. God forbid that, because haters and idiots and fuck faces will come out of the woodworks with their bullshit and saying what they're fucking saying online. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of this shit. You guys aren't GMs. Go fucking manage your fantasy team. Go play your 2K and shut the fuck up about the Raptors and the Tempo. They haven't even played a game, and y'all are already coming at Kia Nurse. You idiots. I'm ashamed of y'all. I'm ashamed of idiots online that are fucking so stupid that I'm talking about right now. The stuff about the Raptors, the subject for today. I really do think that the Raptors have a chance to win this first round. I really do. I think they do because honestly, they think they do. And that's the most important thing. You know, Darko said yesterday in his interview for practice interview, said that we've been training in playoff mode this whole time. The way we play, our style that we've been building, the things that I started 3 years ago has all been building to be able to play in the playoffs and the intensity and the physicality and the changes that happen in the second season. This is the thing. Scotty Barnes, as he said, is built for the playoffs. If we think about it, that rings true because he's an ultra physical player and the playoffs are physical. And in some ways, Scotty can do the all-around play that he does in a playoff situation just like he can in a regular season situation. And I believe this. And, you know, that's the other thing. Scotty ain't been in the playoffs since his rookie year. There's a lot of changes in him. There's a lot of aptitude changes, like rising up in intelligence and knowing the game and understanding individual players in the league and understanding more and more about how to play the game. He's constantly evolving. He's constantly figuring it out more and more. So where is he going to be 4 years after his last playoff experience? We don't know yet. And that's the thing. It could be very special. It could be amazing. He could be at a level that astounds most people. And I think that, you know, people are sleeping on that. People are sleeping on that. And, you know, there's a hunger in some of these guys, too. As much as the press wants to point out that none of these Raptors have won a playoff series as far as Brandon and Scotty, you know, well, it's time then. It's time then. And you don't think that they understand that, too? You don't think Scotty wants to get his first playoff series win? You don't think Brandon, being out for most of last year, has been waiting for a chance to get back to the playoffs and show something? You know, he said something interesting in his practice interview yesterday, saying, oh, people forget I'm only 28. People are questioning whether I could come back from this injury. People could question if I could be back at the level I was at. You know, people forget that Brandon Ingram is an elite scorer in this league and he can take over stuff. And who knows? In some ways, it's like, look, he's had very few chances in the postseason in the last 10 years. You think he wants to squander this one? You know, the times, as he said yesterday, getting in the postseason, he had to go through the play-in to get in the postseason. And there was never really a time to reflect or take some time to come into the first round like this week with the Cavs series He's always had to get ready in 2 days to go in the play-in and play in the play-in, beat the play-in, and then get the playoff series. Brandon is relishing this. Brandon seems very serious. Brandon has things to prove. Brandon has things to prove. And Darko said this, I want my guys to be humble, but have a chip on their shoulders. That's the thing. In some ways, look, other teams can get all braggy. Other teams can get all big with their britches, like the Celtics and the Knicks, and the way their fans are going to act. We shouldn't do that. We should just go about our business, kick some ass, and see what happens. Because honestly, we have a chance, and I don't think people are giving us enough of credit for having a chance in this. And once again, it could very well be that a whole slate of ESPN experts are going to be completely wrong about the Raptors and whether they can beat the Cavs in the first round. There's a lot to this. Whether it's Jacoby Walter shooting so many shots that it's unconscious, and he feeds off energy like Jurassic Park and the Raptors Scotiabank Arena crowd, that they feed him the energy to go to an intense level that goes even higher, to play at a higher level. That's what he's telling me. That's what he said in his interview, that he has another level he goes to as he feeds off the energy fed to him by the crowd and the crowd outside. I think people are sleeping on us. Once again, this is a 4-5 matchup. This isn't an 8-1 matchup. This isn't a 7-2 matchup. This is a 4-5 matchup. That means these teams are supposedly the closest ones in the matchup in the first round. Yet everybody thinks that this is going to be a cakewalk for the Cavaliers. Disrespectful. In some ways, it's like, the Raptors, I can tell, have heard some of the noise because they've had a little bit more off time this week. And, the attitudes of Ingram and Mamu yesterday in the interview shows that they're like, yeah, fuck all y'all that think we can't do this, because we are going to show y'all. So I'm sick of Twitter GMs, as Sandro put it. Yeah, fuck those Twitter GMs. Anybody who thinks that there are some sort of GM fucking outside of being employed at MLSC and working with Bobby Webster, shut the fuck up. You are not a GM. You do not live on the moon. You do not understand Bobby's job. And you think that you know how to do it, but you don't fucking know how to do it. You're just a clown that has a fantasy team or a 2K team, and you think that you know how to do it from that. Jackasses. I'm sick of it. Sick of it all. You see people have joy and you want to crush it. Kia Nurse has joy, and now y'all are doing all your bullshit around that. I don't even think y'all are Canadians or Tempo fans that are online doing that. I think that you're just fuck faces that can't stand to see somebody happy. I think that's what it is, seriously. So my ranting and raving, am I freaking out today? Yeah, that's what I'm freaking out about. I'm freaking about pessimism about the Raptors in the first round. I'm freaking out about fucking people being Twitter GMs and being stupid as fuck. And just shut the fuck up. That's why I don't even go look at all this shit anymore. I gave up on reading comments and social media like 10 years ago because I knew it was all such bullshit, but I see posts on Reddit and I see dumbass shit that people are still saying somehow, some way. It gets to me, but I try to avoid it. I really do, but it's still all out there. And in some ways it's unavoidable. It's unavoidable. All right, let's check in with the chat and see what y'all are saying after my 13-minute rant. I'm going to freak out some more on this subject, and I'd love to hear y'all's opinions on the couple of things that I just brought up. And, we'll go espouse on it more. That's right. Trevor's words of wisdom. You are allowed to outgrow your own opinions, your own habits, your own story. The goal was never to stay the same. The goal was always to grow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to try different things. You're allowed to try and move on. Yeah, this is all true for sure. For sure. The goal was never to stay the same. The goal was always to grow. Yeah. I mean, I like when people have personal growth for the better. We don't want people turning into monsters. We want people turning into saints. We want people turning into, good people. People that are looking out for each other, people that believe in honesty and justice and the law and good things. Not necessarily the law, but honesty, justice, and, protecting environment and protecting the vulnerable. You can change to be a better person if you are a shitty person already. If you are a bad person, you've been acting bad, you can get better. You can change over time. That's the way I look at it. Blessings to the Jones family, all the Raptor Freak families. Trevor's saying this: 7 years of playoffs, Kawhi's Clippers are all for nothing. Disaster. What a great career. Yeah, I mean, we already talked about this, man. I did this yesterday. Your cue cards sometimes are stale because we did talk about Kawhi getting put out and what a failure, aspiration, and all that kind of stuff. We did kind of touch on this already. Trevor's also bringing up something that I talked about 2 days ago, too. The Toronto Temple will cut 8 players after training camp. Yeah, I posted a graphic in the Discord yesterday that is really well organized. They have one for all the teams in the WNBA. And we're trying to suss out who's going to make this team. There's 12 spots on the roster with 2 developmental spots. And we kind of did this like 2 days ago already, Trevor, but I'll do it again. Right now on this graphic, the signed people that are for sure going to be playing for the Tempo this year are Aaliyah Nye, Brittany Sykes, Kia Nurse, Julie Alamon, Marina Mabry, Isabel Harrison, Niara Sabali, and Teme Fagbenle. Now, Kiki Rice will be added to that list also as the 9th person, and that leaves 3 roster spots and 2 developmental spots. It's very likely that Tiani Key will be in one of those 2 developmental spots. Charlize Dunn and Saffron Shields are already stashes. They've been declared stashes by Monica Wright-Rogers, so they will not be coming to play for the Tempo. But out of training camp, that means there's like 3 regular roster spots and 1 developmental spot for 10 people that are on the training camp roster that got signed to training camp contracts. So we're going to need another developmental player, and that's most likely going to be a younger player. And then, we'll get, I think because we're already guard heavy, that they're going to pick people like Maria Klundikova or Nina Milic or Maria Conde as some of the people that they'll bring if they are coming over from Europe. That's the other thing. If they don't have a guarantee they'll make the team, some of these women might just stay overseas and will just continue to have their rights, and they don't come and play in the WNBA, because that does happen. The WNBA money wasn't that good until this year. So a lot of people were not coming to the WNBA because it wasn't the right financial decision. They could make more money in other places. So it's kind of changed. We'll have to see if any of the Marias or Nina the Marias and the Ninas come across the water to play for our team. Of course, all 3 of them, I think, are still playing EuroLeague basketball, and they're tied up. So they may not even be in training camp. But because we have their draft rights, or we have their rights, maybe during the season they can come over and join the team in the middle of the season. I don't know. I don't know how it works totally in the WNBA with their schedule with being a summer league. So, but yeah, I'll bet you Lexi Held will get one of those spots, and then there's like 2 spots left between like a whole bunch of people, and I bet 2 of them are forwards, and then there's going to be a developmental contract that could either go on Dara Mabry, Marina's sister, Liz Balagun, or Madison Roque. I could see any of those 3 getting the second developmental spot beside Key. So yeah, kind of going over early training camp stuff. But look, they haven't even started training camp, so we don't have any notes or details on how it's going and maybe what it's looking like so far, the lay of the land with which players are going to make the team or not. Jimmy's here. Good morning to Jimmy Pope. He's saying, facts, Lex. What happened to the spirit of it all? We got people that cover our team being all giggly with other Cavs YouTubers saying Cavs in 5 weak. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't see that. That would infuriate me. That's somebody like Samson Folk or William Liu or Josh Lundberg or Eric Kareen or Michael Grange. Like any of those motherfuckers doing this. Why do they do this? Seriously, are you selling the product to Canada? Do you want Canadians to tune in to the playoffs? Is this part of it? The conspiracy? Oh, the Leafs aren't in the playoffs, so they're not going to get any attention. But let's not make anybody attracted to watch the Raptors because they're just going to lose. Like that could be part of the whole plan right there, is that hockey media and the U.S. media don't really want people to watch the Raptors playoff games or something. People should be encouraged to watch it. People should be saying, hey, Canada, we're back in the playoffs with the Raptors. There should be commercials on TSN and Sportsnet. And even if they're not being totally realistic, or they're just being like me and they're saying we have a chance and we can do this, They could be making content that's saying the Raptors, have a chance in this. They could actually win this. But no, they're not doing that. So how does that convey to the average sports fan that's not necessarily a diehard Raptors fan or a basketball fan? I won't tune in then because if they're just going to lose, I won't tune in. Is it like they're sabotaging their own ratings before the series even starts? That's what it feels like to a degree when TSN and Rogers employees come on the air and say, yeah, the Raptors will probably lose to the Cavs. Well, are you selling your product? Are you selling your show to fucking get viewers? You idiots. Even if you don't think they have a good chance, maybe you should shut up and sell it like they do so that you'll get the average Canadian to tune in. Is that what this is? Brian Windhurst? Windhurst singing. Maybe the reason why they're saying that the Raptors won't beat the Cavs is because they don't want anybody to tune in. They don't want the numbers on the TV ratings. That's underhanded. That's self-sabotage. But you know what? It doesn't matter because we're insulated. The Raptor Freak family is insulated just with the team. We ride with the team, and we know from the inside that they have the chance and they believe in themselves, and that the media's perception and what they perpetrate is not necessarily the truth or reality. And that's what we're going to find out in this series. Seriously, I feel good about them. I feel good about them. All we need is some good bounces. The thing about the Raptors and the reason why people probably don't have a lot of confidence in them is because they're erratic. They can be different versions of the team. They can be a very high level badass team, which we've seen beat Orlando Magic by 52 points. And they could also be a team that shits the bed and can't even beat a non-playoff team. That's the range is very wide. And the consistency with the Raptors this year has not always been there. And in some ways, that can lend people to think, well, I just think the Raptors are their shittiest version. Oh, I saw them go to New Orleans and lose to the Pelicans this year. Yeah, they're horrible. They're going to get swept by the Cavs. There's a range of reality for what the Raptors are. There's a very high elite level that they can play at, along with a very dog shit level that they can play at. And I think this is what feeds the lack of confidence in them. I think this is what partly feeds it, is that we don't know which Raptors will show up. There could be different Raptors tomorrow than what I'm talking about. There could be way better Raptors than what they're talking about. That's the thing. In some ways, we got to see how the first game plays and see the outcome. And then let's talk about it, experts. And I'm going to say this right now. If the Raptors kick the Cavaliers' ass when they do tomorrow, yeah, we're going to be circling around and saying some shit to jabronis that we're talking about today that didn't believe in them. Yeah, if they get game one right there, that sets the tone for the whole series right away. And in some ways, the Cavs are already in trouble. So I just want to see which version of the Raptors show up tomorrow. Is it going to be a shitty version, or is it going to be one of the high-level versions because they stepped it up and they came with the right energy and attitude and the right ability to do a high-level performance against the Cavaliers? That's part of it right there. I know that they haven't been totally consistent, but the range of what they can be is very wide. And the excellence of how excellent and elite they can be is actually up there with some of the best teams in the league. And nobody's counting on that. Nobody's counting on the very best Raptors showing up and kicking the shit out of Cleveland. That's the thing that they aren't seeing. And that's the thing that they don't want to take into account for possibility, is that we show up and we are A++ on top of our game and we just work them and we beat their ass. You see, and some people don't want that version of the Raptors show up because in some ways, oh shit, that'll ruin their narrative. That'll ruin what they already kind of predicted. But I would love to see the best Raptors show up tomorrow. The best version. That version that beat Oklahoma City and Oklahoma this year. Yeah, that's what I want to see, Jimmy. That's right. Pope positivity, it's in the name. And that's why this man's a true Raptor freak. That's right. Even if the other team is perceived as better, it's always Raps over everyone. That's right. That's right. I mean, I don't get this. It's like we're fans. We're going to do this. We have to. Because I don't get the realist Raptor fans. They're like, well, we're going to lose, guys. What do you mean we're going to win? Of course we're not going to win. We're going to lose. I'm a Raptors fan. I love the Raptors. I've watched them since I was a little kid. I didn't watch them for a while, but I was there when they won the championship. You know, I love the Raptors, but we're going to lose, guys. I'm a realist. Ooh. You know, fuck you. You sorry ass piece of shit. If you're going to be a fan, root for your team. Because I'm sorry. I'm sick of this. I'm a realist. Oh, you guys are just homers. You guys are just, what the fuck are you then? What the fuck are you? You say you're a Raptors fan. Oh, I root for them. All right. You know what? You can root for them, but I'm not going to say you're a fan. I'm going to say you're a Raptors pessimist. I'm going to say that you're a Raptors sad sack piece of shit. That's what I'm going to say you are. I'm not going to give you fan status because in Raptors Nation, fan status is not just given anymore. It's earned. Just like the players have to earn shit. It's given, not given, earned. Yeah. Yeah, you want to say you're a fan? Well, start acting like a fucking fan. Because if you're not acting like a fan, you're not a fan to me. No, you're not. You act like a fan, you root for your team. You're for your team. You're positive for your team. You love your team. You're not, oh, I love the Raptors, but I really don't think they're that good. They haven't really been that good since 2021. Really bad. You know, I fucking hate those kind of fans. And I know that they are a byproduct of Leaf Nation because there's a lot of that bullshit, cynicism, and half-ass fannery for Leafs, you know, because they let them down so much that the action of kind of kicking the Leafs every once in a while they're down as a fan is just necessary to deal with the grief. It's crazy, man. Yeah. Let's see what Jimmy's saying these guys have the right to go interview in person. They ain't real fans. That's right. I mean, I'm sick of it, man. That is not a title that you can just say you have it. You know, in some ways, you don't determine that anymore. In fact, I would ask Scotty and the Raptors to determine whether you're a real fan or not when you talk to them. If you're pissing them off and you're saying, you know what, man, bro, fuck you, man. You don't think we can do this, then you're not a fan. If Scotty talked to me about the playoff series and he heard what I had to say, he's like, man, Raptors Freak, thank you for putting that shit out there and saying what you're saying because there's not enough people saying the shit that you're saying. Because this is bullshit. This seriously is bullshit, man. And they ain't real fans. There's a lot of people in Raptors Nation. There's casuals, there's nephews, there's wolves in sheep clothing. There's a lot of bullshit in Raptors Nation. Just like in Lakers Nation, just like in Knicks Nation, they all got these characteristics. Every fan nation's got this. This is just the world of social media and the world we live in now, currently, presently, today. But that's why I say we have to discern who is a fan and what is the other fucking garbage that's in the nation. You know, what is in the other part of the nation that to me is not a fan. A fan is, you know, there's something childlike about being a fan. There's something idealistic about being a fan. And it's not all cynical and you know, oh, I'm a realist. You guys are the ones who are crazy. You're just homers. You just blindly love them. Oh, motherfucker. I know more about basketball than my little finger than you do in your whole entire body, you dumbass motherfucker. You tell me I don't know basketball and just you get mad at me because I root for my team and because I love my team and I'm passionate for my team. Fuck you. You're not a fan like me. You and I are not the same, is what I say to those people right there. That's right. Kareem saying this, it's all perspective. Cavs media looking at the series as long awaited or overdue for players like Harden and Mitchell, while us Raptors fans see this series as a coming out party for players like B.I., Scotty, RJ, and Quick. Personally, I think this is going to be Scotty's statement to let the NBA know he's here. They don't know yet. I like that idea. I think that this is very probable that this is going to happen. You know, all right, let me go to ESPN. We'll talk about something that's on ESPN this morning. There is an article out by Tim Bontemps, and he's given out his awards as of this morning at 7 a.m. And, well, the Raptors are involved in some of his lists. First of all, go through them in order from the top, and we'll talk about omissions. His most valuable player is SGA, followed by Nikola and Victor, and Luka and Cade. That's the top five for him as far as MVP race. SGA gets it again in his book, which is awesome. His defensive player of the year, I have a problem with. He's got Victor in there, which we figured would happen since he has eligibility. But Scotty's not in the top three. He's got Chet Holmgren and Rudy Gobert as his top three. He doesn't even really talk about Scotty in this article, as even being considered for Defensive Player of the Year, which I think is a slap in the face, Tim Bontemps. Coach of the Year, Joe Mazzulla, is what his pick is, with JB Bickerstaff and Mitch Johnson of the Spurs as number 2 and 3. I mean, I can't totally argue with this, but I don't want to give the Boston Celtics Coach of the Year. So I would say give it to Bickerstaff. Seriously. Rookie of the Year, he's gone ahead and put Cooper over Khan and then VJ Edgecombe. So his top 3 rookies are Cooper, Khan, and VJ for his Rookie of the Year. Most Improved Player. Now, this is interesting. He's got Jalen Duren as number 1, Denny at number 2, and Nikhil at number 3. You know, that list is mostly okay. I will say that. Sixth Man of the Year. Now, this is a very big surprise. Yesterday, in the practice interviews, they asked Mamu about being considered for Sixth Man of the Year and whether he would feel really like special or happy. He said, "Oh, it mean the world if they actually considered me for Sixth Man of the Year." His stats are actually in the running kind of for it. But guess what? He's not the one on Tim Bontemps' list here. Number 1 Sixth Man of the Year to Tim Bontemps is Jaime Jaquez Jr., followed by AJ Mitchell of the Thunder. And his third best Sixth Man of the Year is Shed. He picked Shed. He actually put Shed as the third best sixth man in the NBA. So in some ways, I got to give him some credit. It's not Mamu. It's Jamal Shed. And this is what he said. Shed might be an out-of-the-box candidate, but he led the NBA in assists off the bench this season. And Toronto was 5.4 points per 5.4 points per 100 possessions better with him on the court. There you go. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. All NBA teams are interesting. He left Scotty off all of them. In the third team, he did talk about having him possibly on there, but it was between 3 players. He said that because Doncic and Cunningham were eligible, it bumped these guys out. And the 2 players they bumped out were Denny and Scotty. And he gave the last spot to Kevin Durant instead. So he doesn't think Scotty Barnes is third team All-NBA. He doesn't give him any All-NBA at all. So, all right. But on defense, though, he's got first team defense, Victor, Chet, Rudy, Derek White, and OG. But no Scotty on the first team all defense. But Scotty is on the second team all defense. Yeah, I think this is kind of bullshit, but at least they're included, right? The Shed inclusion surprised me. The Scotty shading by Bontemps is pissing me off, though. The fact that he is not involved in all NBA, or he's on second team all defense and he's not even considered in his top 3 for a Defensive Player of the Year, that's kind of shading and bullshit. The all rookie, well, Colin's on the second team for him. They put Colin Murray-Boyles on the second team. Murray-Boyles had to play through a thumb injury for a chunk of the season, but he has a chance to be an outstanding long-term defensive partner with Barnes in Toronto, is what he said. And those rookie teams were Cooper Flagg, Con Knipple, VJ, Cedric Coward, and Dylan Harper in the first team. Ace Bailey, Derek Queen, Colin Murray-Boyles, Ryan Kalkbrenner, and Maxime Renaud as the second team for Tim Bontemps. That's his choices for what he predicts. I mean, I'm surprised by the Shed stuff, but he's definitely shading Scotty by putting him on second team all defense and not even trying to keep him in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah, that's kind of messed up, Tim Bontemps. Fuck you, Tim Bontemps. That's what I say right there. Fuck you, you sorry piece of shit. Trevor J saying Bobby Webster was on TSN talking about the Raptors game tomorrow. Yeah, Bobby does a lot of interviews. I mean, he was on Hello and Welcome again, too. You know, they're going to be all over the place. People are going to be talking about this in different places. There was a new Jake's Takes that dropped late last night. Y'all check out Jake's Takes. It's a great fan-run site by a young man who has been doing interviews with different players from different sports. And he had a new Jake's Takes come out with Darko last night. Jake has a inside line to get Darko on his show. And this is like the 3rd or 4th time he's had him on the show. And he did a phone call interview with him yesterday. So it's fresh. And it has to do with the Cleveland series. And Jake's takes on what he sees with it. And Darko kind of answering him back. It's a pretty good little interview. It's very short. It was only like a 7-minute interview. But definitely check it out and support Jake, a young content creator who doesn't have a whole lot of subscriptions and doesn't get a lot of views, but his content's high level because he gets very good interviews. Let's just put it that way. He gets really good interviews. And, well, there's a new drop with Darko last night. It's only about 8 minutes, like I said. But you get to hear Darko's takes with Jake's takes. on the Cleveland series. Jake is very high on Colin Murray-Boyles and talking about Scotty and what Scotty can do in the playoffs, and also Jacoby too. It's a really, really interesting interview. Y'all should check it out. I posted in the Discord. Stargate saying, laugh out loud. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Yeah, Stargate can get behind the Friday Freakout. The Friday Freakout's in effect, and people are like, whoa, he's pissed. Yeah, I'm sick of this shit. Fan status is not just given anymore. Y'all can't just self-identify as fans. Your behavior tells me who you are. Your behavior tells me who you are. And if you think you can be a little troll and play both sides of this thing on online, and you're playing another side that's actually really toxic for the Raptors, fuck you. You're not a fan. You're just a fucked up person who's in Raptors Nation. You can be in Raptors Nation. You can be in Raptors Nation, but the status of fan is not for everybody. Some of y'all are Raptors assholes who are not really, like that guy in the parking lot that was talking to Scotty earlier this week. That's not a Raptors fan. That's an asshole that just happens to live in Toronto and roots for the Raptors. That's the thing. We got to discern these categories now because there are a lot of trash. And it's not just in our fan nation. There's trash in every sports nation now. And I'm seeing that it's in the Tempo Nation too already. We haven't even started playing. It's crazy. Randolph. No, this is Reggie. Reggie's here. Good morning, Smooth Brown Man. Good to see you. Thank you for supporting the channel. I appreciate you. It all comes down to BI and RJ Barrett. Scotty could focus in defense only, negate Evan Mobley. They also have to try to speed up the pace of the game as hard as it is to do. That's key. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is something that Darko kind of hinted at in the Jake's interview and also in the practice interview yesterday with the media, is that we have to play our style, that we've been practicing and doing things a certain way. And we know our style. We've been watching them very closely all year. And over the couple years, in the 3 years of Darko, we've seen what he's been building. We see what his values are. You see what his keys are. You see what he wants this team's characteristics to be. So, that's the thing. What we've been doing all along is to train for this on this level. And as Sandro and RJ have said in the last 2 days, this is what you dream of as a little kid, is to play in NBA playoff basketball, is to play at that high level and get to play in that. And well, are they going to try and switch who they are all of a sudden and be a really weird version of the Raptors tomorrow? No. They're going to do what they're supposed to do as far as their principles, their identity, and what they've been working on for the last 3 years to build to this point. And if we understand what that is, that's a very, very dogged defense of a lot of energy coming at the other team, trying to make them turn the ball over. That's a very physical team. That's a very pass team that moves the ball around and looks for the highest percentage shot and good shot selection. These are some of the characteristics of the Raptors under Darko the last few years. So, everything they've done in preseason, summer league, the regular season, the in-season tournament, everything they've done is practicing to do what they're going to do in the playoffs. And that's the whole thing we got to remember. It's like, don't get this complicated. Know what our mentalities and our principles and our pillars are, and play to them and do them. That's what I'm saying right there. That's it right there. It's very, very important. Darko said with Jake yesterday, because Jake asked him, he said, do you think that you'll play Scotty and Colin on Harden and Mitchell? Like having the big guys come out and guard them a bit. And well, Darko said, basically, this is going to be a long series, and we're going to try a lot of different things. So he didn't say outright he's going to do it. Of course, he don't want to give away what he's doing. But yeah, of course, he's going to put Scotty on those guys at times. Of course, that will happen. So, that's the thing. Remember who you are, Raptors. Play to your strengths, play to your identity, and play to it truly at a high level. Another thing that Darko said in the interview with the press yesterday is that this series will be won on the margins. That this is the kind of thing where the little things can add up to whether you're going to be successful in getting the W or not. So a lot of the little things that they're going to be looking for, Darko and his coaching staff, is how do we win the mini battles? How do we win the stuff that's kind of on the sides? And how can we find excellence in things like free throw shooting, holding them off from offensive rebounds, protecting the ball, but also getting the ball from them? These are all the margins so to speak. And these are the little battles that can add up to whether we win or not. And once again, Darko said this: the team that will win is the team that wants it more, plays more physical, and plays more together. Scotty said the team that communicates the best will win, the team that plays together the best. I've said this week the team that has the most contributors overall that are contributing in winning ways, whether it doesn't have to be scoring, it could be a whole lot of other different things. It could be good defense, it could be rebounding, it could be all kinds of different things, playmaking. Whoever has the most contributors. If we have 7 or 8 guys that are playing winning kind of stuff and adding to winning, and they only have like 2 or 3 or 4, yeah, we're probably beating them. So these are keys to the victory, the path to the win, the advice to get the victory of the win. Whatever they want to brand it and call it on the telecast these days, with like advice for victory, the keys to the path to the victory, the win, to the path. Whatever Jack Armstrong's and Alvin Williams' little bulletin points are. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the margins is a battle where this series could be won. And the Raptors are aware of this, and they're going to go look for the ways to exploit this. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Stargate saying this: it astounds me that people are actually overwhelmingly making Cleveland the favorite. Like I said yesterday, it's a 4-5 matchup. Raptors swept them in the regular season. Yeah, in some ways it's disregarding. In some ways, it's kind of like it's, some people in the NBA, people like Sarge, the co-host of well, hopefully not anymore, but the person who's been involved with Fred's podcast, they still have an image of the Raptors of being the expansion Raptors. Like they've never really gone with them through their history over 30 years. They just look at them. They're an expansion team with dinosaurs, and they're a joke. And they're not a team that could be taken seriously in a lot of ways. They've never, ever wanted to give a status of a legitimate NBA team, let alone a playoff team or even a champion. They want to denigrate it any way they can. Oh, Kevin let you get that championship. Oh, this or that. Some people that still look at the lens of the Raptors through purple dinosaurs, and they don't look at the team as a full-fledged NBA team still. And we're 30 years in and a champion, which 10 of the teams in the league can't say they've won a championship ever. So it's like, what the fuck? Who the fuck are you looking down on? Who the fuck do you think we are? We got Masai Ujiri on our team for a long time, and he built a culture, and he built something in Toronto. So yeah, get with the program. If you have an old program from 1996 and you're still basing your Toronto Raptors opinions off 1996, 97, fucking A, man, grow with the times and get with the present. Seriously, if this is what clouds your judgment on the Toronto Raptors, oh, it's the Raptors. They're just going to get swept. They're an expansion team. Motherfucker, we've been in the league 31 years. What the fuck you call us an expansion team? Seriously? You think we're expansion team? What the fuck? There's some people act like we are still. It's ridiculous. Jimmy's saying, I'm pumped for Jacoby. Him talking about already feeling the adrenaline. We ain't a cakewalk and can win this. That's right. We've got a lot of powerful players. Just because they're young and unproven doesn't mean when they get chance to prove they fail. It means that maybe, and that's part of the design of Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri's choices over the years is to get winners like Jamal Shed, like Fred VanVleet, to get winners, guys that have won and won everywhere they've gone. That's the thing that people don't talk about enough. And maybe instant winners are instant winners because they come into the situation and like, oh, this is what I remember, Jacoby Walter. Yeah, I'm ready to win at the highest level because that's what I do. When I get in the big time energy in the big time games, that's what I do. I'd rather take an unproven guy like Shed and, let's test him than a guy who's been proven over and over again to be a dud for like his whole entire NBA career, James Harden. Seriously. You're going to say you have more faith in James Harden? Well, maybe because he has more experience and time, but what the fuck is his track record? And in some ways, a unblemished, perfect record that has not even started yet. We don't know what these guys are going to do. Scotty and RJ and Brandon, they could come and bring a whole kind of mess of problems for the Cavaliers tomorrow. Oh, yeah, they could. Oh, yeah, they could. Yeah. Stargate saying, then there's James, history of being bad in the playoffs. Yeah, I think that once again, as much as they look at us in the most pessimistic, negative light, they're putting rose-colored glasses on for James Harden. Oh, they are. There's a lot of people kidding themselves. and thinking, oh, this guy's going to do this. They're thinking about the optimal top level possibility of James Harden. And they're not really being realistic in that way, going the other way. And they say, oh, you're not realistic, Raptors fan, Raptors freak. Oh, well, I don't think you're realistic about James Harden, is what I'd fucking say to you. Seriously. I mean, what is the track record? And where are the last 3 stops? And what happened there? So what makes you any fucking different, Cleveland? It's not like you've got Kevin Durant. It's not like you have Joel Embiid. It's not like you have Kawhi Leonard. Yeah. Does it matter if he's with superstars? Which superstars you want to put him with? Kyrie and Kevin? You want to put him with Maxey and Embiid? You want to put him with Kawhi and whoever the fuck old ass is with them in Clippers? Yeah. Is it going to matter if you put him with Mitchell and Mobley? It probably won't matter because the track record is the same everywhere Big Game James is gone. Big Game James? Why do they even call him that? Because a big game happens and the man shrinks into the bush like Homer Simpson. Yeah, I don't know when this guy happens. Sure, some people say, well, it doesn't happen in the first round, Lex. James Harden fails later rounds. Well, maybe we'll expedite things this time. Maybe we'll speed things up a little bit because that's what the Raptors like to do is speed things up. And maybe we'll speed this game up and we'll speed James Harden's ass right on out of the playoffs up. That's right. That's right. That's right. Fiercey's here. Good morning to Fiercey Salsera, our commissioner of women's respect. That's right. MJ, good morning to you. Good morning, fam, and happy Friday. I'm not listening to the noise. I'm rooting for my guys, Raptors in 6. I love it. That's what a lot of people have been saying. Raptors in 6. Raptors in 6. I like that one because that means we win at Scotiabank and the fans get to celebrate. So that means we let Cleveland get 2 of the games and we win 4. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Honestly, that sounds reasonable. Some people say, no, you're a homer, Lex. You're just crazy. You have the purple colored glasses on. I don't know. Somebody's got to take this other side. Y'all going to put so much money on the other side in the parlay. You know what? There may be money to take for true believers in the Raptors like me. Oh, yeah. You're going to put so much on that side. Maybe you're helping with the betting. And, maybe old Stevie Roots can put some money down on the Toronto Raptors to beat the Cavs and make a lot of money because y'all jokers made this perception up out there. Yeah. Sometimes this is the best counteraction for true believer Raptors fans. Okay, they're saying all this. Oh, this is the perception. All right, put my money down. I'm going to make some money off you jokers right now. Put my money down. You don't think we're going to make the playoffs, Bill Simmons? You don't think we're going to be a top 6 Eastern Conference team? Put my money down right now at the beginning of the season, and I'll make that money at the end of the year. So put my money down on the Cleveland Cavaliers. I do not bet, y'all. First of all, I do not do any sports betting. I do not endorse it. But in some ways, I'm saying that when we're in this situation, I say, go make some money. Seriously, go make some money. That's right. And Stargate's saying, how is Cleveland so favored? How? Why? I know. What is it? It's just because of the presence of James Harden? Is it just because of the presence of James Harden? I will argue once again, that's a downgrade from what you had. Garland's a better player than Harden. That's what I would say. All right, we got a call coming in. Let's see who we got today. Hello, caller. You're on the Raptor Freak Show.
Yeah. What's going on?
2 days in a row of 4 quarters with Seymour Pape.
Nah, we gonna cut it short on this one. We're not gonna do. I just got two things to run by you.
Sure.
So there's a lot of delusional fans out there, man. Like yesterday, I joined. There was a online chat on TikTok. A bunch of people talking basketball. And they were going off about Toronto's they're going to get walked over by Cleveland. They say it's easy, this and that. And then they were talking about another series, how Denver's not going to make it because Denver got swept in their season series against whatever team they face. And I said, wait a minute, but we walked up Cleveland in our season series. So if you're looking at it like that, how are you going to say that Toronto's going to get run over when we walked over Cleveland?
Yeah.
They said, and literally couldn't say nothing. He was speechless. Right, so there's a lot of delusional fans out there that's just throwing us under the bus. It's really crazy, man. Like that they're giving us no shot, but it's all good. Like you said, sometimes it's good being the underdog. You coming in, and another thing I want to throw in too. I want to ask you a question. If we do, or when we do take down Cleveland, do you see them blowing that up? Because I think a lot of teams and a lot of people are throwing us under the bus to begin with, and I think if we do take down, or when we do take down Cleveland, they're going to blow that whole team up. And I think every team we take down after that, they're going to blow up their situation. A lot of teams, because remember I said to you, a lot of people view us of the bar as the bar of the league. And I think every team we knock out in the playoffs, they're going to dismantle their team. They're going to, oh, these guys weren't good enough. They didn't have it. Watch. They're going to talk so much shit about these teams that we take out.
I think this is true. And Cleveland's definitely in the category with their salary and their roster that they are more like New York and Boston as far as we need to win. And we don't need to just win. We are championship or bust.
Yeah.
And that, that really is like, if they lose in the first round to us, that's a failure. And in some ways, yeah, they're going to have to make they're going to have to make major changes, or I don't know, maybe they'd be like, well, James just showed up and we need more time with the runway, and let's try it and run it back, and we'll do it with him with like the whole season or something like that. They may do that too. But I think that if they fail out in the first round, oh yeah, the fallout will be immense, and there will be a lot of buzz, and there will be a lot of pressure for sure.
Yeah, because they're gonna look at Mitchell and Harden and say, you guys are Team Olympic worthy players, and you couldn't get the job done against the one lone Canadian team. Yeah. I think that's exactly how they're gonna throw it at them. Like, you know what I mean? Pretty crazy, man.
It is true, but because like teams will play us and like we'll beat them, and then they'll fire their coach because they're like, oh no, we lost to the Raptors. That's absolutely horrible. So it kind of works two ways. In some ways, it kind of works for us too, because we're like a poisonous, venomous team. Oh, you lost to the Raptors. That could make you lose people on your team all of a sudden.
A lot of people online are throwing out. They're not giving San Antonio and Detroit. We get it that they finished tops in their conferences. San Antonio, I think, finished second, but they're still top tier teams. Yeah. But even I don't really have the faith that they're going to go all the way, either of those two teams, because they don't have the experience. Like, they're just pulling up to the table. This is their, like, you know what I mean? Both of those teams.
We're Detroit like that too, though, to be fair. But I think that Detroit has some good experience from last year. And, San Antonio is weird. Well, we're just going to have to see what happens with them. They are very young, but they have a lot of talent. And we'll have to see how Wemby is in the playoffs. That's going to be interesting right there. So
I want our team to go the whole way, but if we don't, I'm not going to be pissed. I'm happy with where we are. Like, I'm happy with how they've done this season. They've gone past my expectations. Yeah. I'm not even going to lie. You know what I'm saying?
That's what Brandon said yesterday. He said nobody was picking the Raptors to get over 40 wins, and we've exceeded expectations. That's what Brandon said right out of his mouth yesterday in the interview he did yesterday. And I think that's true. Yeah. And that's why a lot of people need to understand this year's a success no matter what the postseason outcome is. I don't think it's going to be a sweep like everybody's saying. I think we have a good chance to win the first round because our guys believe they can and our coach believes they can, and I know we can. So
yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah.
All right, yo, I'm jumping off this, yo.
All right, man. You saying there's a chance? Are you saying there's chance?
There's always a chance. Yeah, we got this. Trust me, we got this.
Let's go.
All right, cheers.
Awesome, man. 2 days in a row with the sheriff, Seymour Pate, man. Yeah, I love his points. That sucks, man. He's in a TikTok and he faced that guy off. He said, well, what your logic with the Nuggets? How are you not applying this with the Raptors? I think people are not reading it right. They think that they see the season series with us in Cleveland. They say, oh, they swept the Raptors. No, motherfucker. Look at that more closely. That says Toronto beat Cleveland 3-0. Not Cleveland beat Toronto. I don't think people are getting that. And Darko had a good point about this. I mean, they have changed their teams a bit. James Harden's a big difference in some ways. And they did get Max Strus back healthy since we played them too. And Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder. But for the most part, we played Mitchell and Mobley and Allen and Merrill and Wade and, most of their team. We've played against those guys and we have, tape on them, And the Raptors are looking at tape from the games against Cleveland earlier this year. And they're looking at their tape from the Clippers games with how they dealt with James on the Clippers when he was still there when we played them. So, it annoys me because 3 of the pillars of that team were on that team when we played them and we beat their asses. So you got James Harden added. Max Strus came back from injury. and you got a couple of kings added to your backups on your bench. Well, we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see, man. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Fiercely saying, honestly, Garland is more of a threat than Harden. I think he's a more sound player. Like, in some ways, I was more scared of Darius Garland than James Harden because Darius Garland is a baller. And in some ways, he was just another aspect with them that I didn't like having to play Garland. Let's just put it that way. In some ways, I respected him more than Mitchell, you know? So I don't think that this is totally an upgrade. I think that Cavs fans are mesmerized. And I don't think that they totally understand, Darius Garland's a solid pro who is a baller and he makes big time shots and he plays a very solid, efficient game when he's out on the court. I can't say that totally for James. James will give you certain kind of weapons, foul baiting. Brandon said this yesterday. He said the flopping won't work in the playoffs. So we'll just see with James on that. And, some of the stuff that he does it's not as ethical as Darius Garland. Let's just put it that way. So I'm not totally sold on that trade was a win for them or an upgrade. In fact, I could maybe even make a very solid case of perception that that's a downgrade, trading Harden for Garland. Yeah, that's a downgrade that they traded to get Harden from Garland. I think that in some ways is like that. Seriously. Let's see. Reggie's saying, I think people are seduced by James Harden and think that he's the reason the Cavs will make quick work of the Raptors. I think you're right. I think that's exactly right. And Seymour, thanks for calling, man. Thanks for calling. Neil, thank you for supporting the channel with your little alien heads. Sounds like the aliens are going to be coming out at some point. Disclosure Day. Steven Spielberg says that shit is real. And they're going to reveal that the aliens are here. Finally. Oh, my gosh. Stargate saying at Reggie, but how can people think that so easily when history shows us that Harden is a notorious playoff choker? These are people that shouldn't even pay attention to because they don't know the game. Yeah, whatever, man. In some ways, it's good cover. It's good kind of confusion. It's good like distraction. Go ahead and believe all this shit. Cleveland Nation and NBA media, go ahead and believe all this shit. We'll see what reality is on the court. We'll see. Y'all say all this shit, and the things that happen on the court in the 48 minutes between the lines of the NBA court are what matters. It's not what you fucking say with your mouth. It's what happens on the court, the events that the players make transpire. And nothing anybody says, even myself on this channel, has nothing to do with the reality of it. It has to do with what they do on the court and what happens. And that is not what y'all said they were going to do in the summer, the Raptors, and what they did this season. So you have a track record of being wrong about the Toronto Raptors over and over again for like 20 years now. Seriously. You guys have been wrong about the Raptors for so long and how y'all gauge them and your prognostications that it's just like the sky is blue. Well, they're going to say shit and they're going to be wrong. And that's what I'm saying, y'all. This is, if you're a gambler, you can edge this. You can take an edge to this and make some money off of this. You can do this. Seriously. Yeah. That's reality, unfortunately. Yeah, it is what it is. And people just want to, you go ahead and overhype James Harden. Go ahead. What if he, God forbid, can't make some of the games all of a sudden for weird reason? Smooth saying this. Hang on, it jumped ahead. I want to make sure I don't miss a comment. I remember the Harden 2 for 13 from the 3-point line in the 2019 playoffs games, game 7 versus Golden State. Yeah. I mean, that dude, as much as y'all think he's going to appear for you, I think the percentage of him disappearing for teams is much higher than him showing up for teams when they really need him. Part of it is that James is a lackadaisical kind of guy. In some ways, he's not trying to do too much effort. He's a very highly talented player, but he's going to do what he does just enough just to win. But he may not go that extra mile. And there may be an extra mile that Walter and Shed and Barrett may want to go a little further past him because they're willing to go it. But James may be a little bit like, well, I'm James. I'm the beard. I can do this. I can do that. But I'm not going to try that hard. There's a bit of that energy with him that Cavs fans are overlooking, that he's not all out. He's a very talented guy who can do a lot of things at a high level with not trying that hard. And what level of actually really trying does he get to? Does he actually ever get to? Seriously, do you see him getting after the ball on his ass and doing the stuff like hustle plays and shit like that? Well, we'll see. We'll see. Probably not, because he coasts on talent. And it's not that he's necessarily the hard worker. Let's just put it that way. Does Rico Hines say that James Harden's the hardest worker that he's ever seen play in the NBA? No, he says that about Pascal Siakam. That's right. And he's worked with James a lot. He doesn't say that shit about James Harden. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Look very scared and shook. It's only be worse since, and that was in Houston, by the way. Yeah, that team was not the best team to support him, too. But still, he is a one-man show. He was the one who needed to do it the best, and he disappeared for them. He did. Seymour saying, salute to Jake's takes. Still waiting for the Raptor Freak and Jake collaboration. I talked to him before and sent him a message of encouragement about his channel and trying to tell him to do more. And he kind of like, he didn't respond to me. In some ways, he probably shouldn't talk to me because we're in two different areas. He's a minor, he's a kid, and I'm an adult channel that cusses and does the crazy shit that I do. And in some ways, you know, it could be very well that like Jake got a message from me and I said, Jake, good job. Keep doing your work. I'm proud of you as a content creator. You're doing great. And his dad saw the message. He's like, let me go see who this guy is. And he checked out my channel. He's like, Jake, you shouldn't talk to him. That could be part of it is, but I don't think I need to collaborate with Jake. Jake does things in a way with the top level professionals in sports, and I'm not that. So he has no reason to interview me. And I don't know if he called my show or he wanted to be on in the chat with us here, that'd be fine. That would maybe the way that it collaborates, but I don't think he's of age yet. He's still a teenager, and he's not an adult. So in some ways, he shouldn't be watching my channel. Let's just say that. Yeah, delusional fans exist. That's right. That's right. Paulo Banchero better bring it tonight. Charlotte wants in on the big dance. Going to be an interesting game. PB no J. That's not what everybody's calling him. PB no J. That's why they call him that. Like PBJ is Patrick Baldwin Jr., who played in the G League this year. But PB no J, that's really what people call Paulo right now. That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, this game's important for Magic. I expect them to crash out just like Miami and be out and let Charlotte get that first round matchup against Detroit, because I have no faith in the Magic. Like that's the thing. If the Magic got the series and they beat the Hornets tonight, that kind of be a waste. And you know, having a Rookie of the Year candidate in Concanipple in the postseason is more attractive to Adam Silver than a probable going to flame out and just look sorry ass like the Magic would look in the playoffs. Seriously, they're going to look sorry in the playoffs. You know, a lot of the energy that people are saying about us, they should be saying about Orlando, because they're more like what they think we're like. Seriously, they're more like that. They have no teeth. And they need to go out tonight. If they win tonight and they get the first round against Detroit, that's going to be a sad series. That's going to be a sad series. It's going to suck. It's going to be very boring. Let's just put it that way. Stargate saying this: we all know who is behind this negative Raptor mentality being expounded now. It ain't basketball fans. It's the fans and entities of another sport who are jealous and acting out because the basketball team is again showing more success than the other team of that other sport. And they hate that, and they're having a hissy over it. No, I'm not going to disagree with them. There probably are some very hockey first kind of people that are part of the problem in social media spaces that are Canadian and up here. You know, there's people that consider themselves Leaf and Raptors fans, but they're more diehard hockey fans, and the basketball stuff's secondary. And, you know, in some ways they may be kind of like toxic from within, as far as just, you know, first of all, they're conditioned as Leaf fans to be jaded, cynical, let down, you know, over and over again, just feeling like, what the fuck? Why do I root for this team? Like, it's masochistic. And that's why, in some ways, I made this channel for the Raptors fans, is because I didn't want to have that kind of energy around our team. Because in some ways, Raptors culture, Raptors fan nation is very different than Leaf Nation. But unfortunately, in the Venn diagram, we do share a lot of people. And unfortunately, some of their behaviors in the way that they express themselves in Leaf Nation shows up in Raptors Nation in a similar pattern. So that's what I think part of it is. And I think Stargate's pointing that out. But then also you could talk about the hockey media infrastructure not really wanting the NBA to be too popular And that's what I was alluding to earlier is like if you've got Josh Lewenberg and Michael Grange and different people from media places like The Athletic and Eric Koreen and Raptors Republic and whoever, Hello and Welcome with William Liu and Alex Wong, they're going to all like start talking down about the Raptors' chances for this series. I don't know if everyone did that I just named, but most of them probably did. That may be, like I said, something to turn off the average Canadian sports fan from even tuning in to the NBA playoffs with the Raptors because, they're just going to lose. If they hear this ahead of time and they start thinking that, part of it is also kind of like building energy. And if there's a lot of pessimistic kind of negative energy, it can work both ways. It can torpedo your team with doubt and, people thinking, we aren't too good enough. But it also can bolster your team because it pisses people off and it gives them a chip on their shoulders and it gives them a reason to prove some people fucking wrong. So I'd like to think that the latter is the one that the Raptors are feeling right now. That if they've gotten any inklings or little tastes of the possible takes on the playoff series and the experts and what they're saying, well, they should have a lot of motivation to prove idiots wrong. That's what I'm thinking right now. That's right. That's right. Trevor's saying this. All the people who believe the Raptors going to lose to Cleveland might just end up in emergency room because of doubt. I love that. Might end up in the emergency room. That's awesome. All right, Trevor, I'm going to give you a dunk for that because that's hilarious. Just from doubt, like they have doubt. What's wrong with this patient, nurse? They have a severe case of doubt. Did you say gout? No, doubt. Doubt. What do you mean? That's not a thing. How did they time? Just I don't know. They're catatonic and they are in doubt and they can't snap out of it. What can you do, doctor? I don't know. I've never dealt with this. I can deal with gout, but I've never dealt with doubt. This is weird. Can we give them something to believe in? Yeah, maybe they should tune into the Raptor Freak channel at 9:30 a.m. every morning. Yeah, that's a good prescription, nurse. Get me my pen. It's something like that. Maybe that's what they need to do right now. They need a prescription of the Raptor Freak, dose of reality, get some positivity and optimism in your life. 33, you got that Jamario Moon 33. I love it. I love it. Yeah, Seymour's saying interesting. I can see them Leaf fans on the Shanahan shit. F them haters. Yeah. I mean, I guess they're bored now. Why don't you go root for whatever Canadian teams in the Stanley Cup playoffs or Leaf fans? Come on now. Let's get behind the Jets or whoever else is out there. The Canucks or the Oilers or whoever. We got to get behind Canada's team. It's not the Maple Leafs this year. So let's get behind Canada's team, NHL fans. Yeah. If you want to root for the Raptors, do it correctly, do it positively. Separate your feelings about the blue team away from your feelings for the red team, and we can be fine. You can come and root for the Raptors, Leaf fans, and you can leave all your toxic garbage from Leaf Nation at the door. You can do this. Decontamination. Yeah, you go into that little room, and you got to get naked, and they spray you down with all this shit before you can fucking come into the room with us because we got to decontaminate you of all your Leaf cynicism and toxic bullshit. Yeah, you can come and root with us, Leaf Nation, but leave your bullshit at the door is what I'm fucking saying right now. That's right. Leave your bullshit at the door. That's right. That's right. Let's see. G saying this. The Tempo just announced their world-class training facility coming 2028. It looks amazing. Wow. Okay, so they're not going to just be using the TMU practice place for them, like at the university downtown at TMU. They're going to build a whole new place. Of course they're going to. Larry Tenenbaum is a concrete baron. He is a builder of the city. He is Starship. We built this city. He built this city on concrete. Larry Tenenbaum built this city. Built this city of Toronto. Dun, 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 dun. No, Larry is like that. So, of course, Larry Tenenbaum, one of the main owners of Toronto Temple, is going to build a practice facility for them with his concrete company. Oh, yeah, they'll get that. That's awesome. There's going to be some nice pictures, nice things. Let me go look and see if I can find this. Let me see. Where'd you put it? Did you guys post it yet? Oh, yeah, I see this. Okay, Trevor's put it up. He says, Toronto Temple. Thank you, Trevor, for posting this. To develop world-class performance center. Where's it going to be? Scheduled to open in 2028. Looks like it's in Mississauga. Where is that? That looks like a weird AI picture. That don't look right. The facility will feature 2 WNBA regulation courts, a first of its kind locker room with private showers. Private showers? That's weird. Vanity salon spaces, a mother's room, an elevated team first design, full sports medicine, performance and recovery suite, players' lounges, fuel bars, and dining to support connection and nutrition, team development spaces, including a film theater and conference rooms, integrated basketball operations and business offices in one state-of-the-art facility. So they're getting their OVO, is what we're talking about right here. They're getting their OVO. I love the concept pictures. It looks like it's an interesting building. It kind of looks like a building that's in Kensington Market, but they have the big, huge Tempo logo over the top of it. Yeah, it looks really cool. It looks kind of cool. I mean, they could kind of design the building a little bit more appealing architecturally, but it's mostly good. They're saying Monica Wright Rogers' quote is saying, "Our players deserve a world-class environment that supports every aspect of their development, and our community deserves access to spaces that inspire the next generation. This facility will be both." That's awesome. I love it. And there's more pictures of the inside. Yeah, there's the Bordeaux purple is very dominant in the spaces that they're showing. And yeah, I like the little lounge area. That's pretty cool. That looks cool. That's the locker room. That's the improved locker room, the newer locker room, because it's got the numbers on the wall. You know, Sandro was talking about this yesterday in his interview about one of the things he's loved about being on the Raptors this year is the 24/7 care that the staff does, the training staff. That if he wants to, he can come down to OVO Center and he can get nutrition or he can get worked on, like with massage or any kind of therapy to help him physically. That it's so easy and it's so accessible. And that's something that has really helped him. He said specifically, play a lot of games this year and stay healthy. So, you know, these kind of facilities like the one Tempo's announced this morning are important for the team to compete at the highest level and also to give access to the players to all the different kinds of amenities and services that can really help them be their top best level of playing. And I love that. I love that. Yeah, it's proven at this point. And you know, that's a big thing in the WNBA is the practice facilities. There's a lot of teams in the league that have them, but there's a lot of teams that don't. And in some ways, this could be an edge in free agency and appealing to players to come and play for our team, having a dedicated facility like this. This is important. Some of the best teams in the league have these, like the Aces, and it really does factor in to players' decisions if they want to come play for a team. Oh, you guys have this awesome facility. Yeah, I'd love to come play for Toronto. We want that. But it's 2028 when that place will be opened up. That's not too bad. That's in a couple of years. That's not too bad. Smooth saying this. People just don't like that it's Toronto in the 5th seed. Most of them thought the Raptors would be a play-in team. Yeah, that's part of it. It's punitive. It's punitive. Oh, how dare you, Raptors. You were supposed to be a play-in team, but y'all made it and you're a playoff team. How dare you? How dare you? We tried to sewer you and dump you out of the playoffs into the play-in and the last part of the season, but y'all still had excellence and you found your way to the 5th seed. Oh, how dare you? We're just going to sewer you publicly now in perception. Yeah, there may be some truth to that because a lot of people, you know, some of these experts were saying we're going to drop out and they were proven wrong. And they hate that. They don't like being wrong. So, okay, go ahead and double down on being more wrong with what you're saying now, too. Go ahead. Big facts. Big facts. That's right. Big facts. Stargate saying, I would be way more concerned if Garland was still with Cleveland. I know. That's the other thing I keep saying is like, y'all were better with Garland. And like, I'd be more scared of you if he was still here because I know how he is. I mean, I don't get this. Y'all think you improved by getting James? Okay. I think you may have improved partly because you got some of those Kings and Strus healthy back. That may be more why you improved, but you're going to go ahead and give James all the credit? All right. Okay. I mean, that's what I'm saying. He says right here, I'd be way more concerned if Darius was still there. I know. That's kind of where I'm at. Medved Ted's in the house. Good to see Medved Ted, a diehard 905 and Raptors fan. Cavs fans have a delusional level of optimism. Jared Allen is already mentioning a nagging injury from a month ago. Kenny Atkinson said success to him as his players individually becoming successful. Yeah, he's stressed, man. That's another thing. Y'all are acting like it's a cakewalk, but Kenny Atkinson's body language ain't acting like it. Seriously, Cavs fan, go look at your coach. You go check on him, see how confident he feels and how he's looking. I mean, Darko looks way more confident in his interviews. He's coming in all fresh faced with new haircuts, and he looks like he's been preparing his ass off. Like he's ready. Like there's a certain kind of level of like confidence in Darko that he wants to instill in his players. He has to do the correct amount of preparation to feel that confidence and come into the whole thing like that. You know, the energy of the two coaches is telling right there. Kenny Atkinson looked like he is traumatized and a little bit losing sleep this week. That's what it looks like to me. Seriously. Yeah, we'll just have to see what's going on with this. Seriously. Both teams are going to have injuries on the down low and different people that aren't totally 100% health wise. That's going to be true. That's going to be true. IQ for us, we'll just have to see what IQ can do. We'll just have to see. Reggie's saying Cavs lose and they're getting LeBron back. That's my prediction. I could see that. They lose and James, you didn't work out. And you know what? We're going to trade you to the Lakers for LeBron James. I mean, LeBron should do a farewell tour, and the Cavaliers are probably on the list pretty high for possibly doing the farewell tour. It's either going to be Miami, Cleveland. Some people have said Golden State, that he'd go play with Steph, and they do a last hurrah tour, them together. Yeah, I could see this. I could see what you're saying right here. The Cavs fail to the Raptors and go out in the first round, and there's a shakeup. Maybe the shakeup is King James returns to Cleveland and goes home for the third time, comes home and plays for them for the third time. Trevor's saying, I just posted all the photos of the Tempo world-class training facilities. Very beautiful in the Discord. Yeah, thank you, Trevor. I was very helpful just now. I really, really appreciate that. Chloe saying, morning, everyone. Let's see. Happy playoffs eve to y'all. May the force be with our boys tomorrow. One of the things that's interesting about when we play is we're the first on stage. It's like we're the opening match on a wrestling card. We're the first people that get out there and get on the court, and everybody's eyes are on us. In some ways, that can be nerve-wracking. That can be a little nerve-wracking. Not only are you guys coming into your first playoff experience, you're going to be the first ones on TV in establishing the playoffs. And that could be a little nerve-wracking. That's by design, too. 1 p.m. start, Raptors and Cavaliers, first game of the playoffs. We're used to this, though. And, the way that the NBA's made the Raptors play at erratic times all season makes me more confident in them to be at a good level at 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon than, like, old Raptors versions. Like, I can remember the early days when we started with DeMar and Kyle and Dwayne Casey, happy birthday. When they were doing the playoff runs early and they were losing the first round, and we'd have to play at like 12:31 on a Saturday to start the series against like the Nets or the Wizards. It always seemed like our players were just not used to it and weren't ready for that time. But I feel like because the Raptors have done these West Coast trips, there's been some really weird different times that they've had to play all the year long, that this won't be a big factor. Part of the reason why this is tough for teams playing at 1 p.m. is that they like to have long preparations throughout the day. And there's a different things you do to get your body prepared, whether it's massages, whether it's stretching, whether it's nutrition, whether it's a nap, whether it's I eat this certain thing. And when you move the time, like you normally are on a game day at 7:30, you have so much time in the middle of the day to do so much to get ready. But when the time is at 1, you're cutting away a lot of the pregame stuff. Now, I would make this determination. This is from this. It's like, they don't get as much time to prepare for the game at a 1 o'clock start. They don't get as much ramp up for pregame, things to get ready. Now, is this a problem for certain players? Yes. Usually it's a problem for older players because older players need more to get loosened up and to be prepared. It's harder. Is it a thing where the Raptors are going to get up at like 4 a.m. and start their day really early to make sure they get their full day preparation like they would if the game was at 7? Maybe. That may be smart. Maybe some of them get up really early tonight in the middle of the night and do some of the pre-day stuff, and then they go back to sleep and take their nap before the game, and they've done the stuff that they would normally do to lead into the 1 o'clock time slot. I would make the argument that the age pyramid of the Cavaliers being older with much older players on their team in most cases would be harder for them to go through the preparation for 1 p.m. start and not having all the luxuries of the pregame rituals that you need to limber yourself up and get yourself 100% ready for the game. This is something that is part of the insidiousness of putting us at 1 p.m. is that it is really true that one of the things about an early afternoon game is that you're taking away a lot of the pre-game preparation for the players, and they get real used to it. Some of these guys are OCD about their schedule and their and their techniques and their regiment and what they will do. They want it to be a certain way, or they don't feel right for coming in the game. So I guess I would ask the Raptors, go to bed real early tonight and get up real early tomorrow and put your full pregame workout and pregame whatever you do, rituals, into effect, even though the game starts at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Because this is a factor in this first game for game one. This is a factor right here. Yeah. Yeah. Paul B's here. Good morning, Paul B. Raptor Freak holding it down for us in the great state of Wisconsin. So happy day, Paul B. Raptors in 6. I love it. I love it, Paul B. I love it. Blessings to you and your family, man. I hope only good things are happening for you, my guy. Medved Ted saying, would you call it a fulfilling career without winning a championship? Yes, 100%. I've done what 95% of the world can't even imagine. I'm confident. I'm very happy. Life is amazing. That's a James Harden quote. Yeah, I like. There was a similar quote by Sandro yesterday in the practice interview saying, like, all you people that talk about us and say that we're this and that, you guys got to understand we're like in the top 500 best players in the league in the world in basketball. I will play any of y'all one-on-one and kick your ass, is what Sandro said. Y'all experts. Y'all think you know basketball so well. You got to remember, as much as y'all think, because people are going to be successful and fail, we're still way better than any of y'all. And y'all need to shut the fuck up, is basically what Sandro was saying yesterday. That was awesome when he's saying that. He's like, he said he had an open challenge. I will play any of y'all in one-on-one and kick your ass, is what Mamu Kelishvili said yesterday. I love that, man. And Darko, meanwhile, he's saying stuff like, the playoffs, this isn't that hard in some ways. He's saying, if this was the playoffs in Europe, they'd be throwing bottles and shooting lasers at your eyes when you're shooting free throws. He started talking about that yesterday. I'm like, holy crap. It's like, that's a great speech for our guys, honestly, to kind of like, there's two things he's telling them. He's saying, first of all, you guys have been playing basketball your whole lives. You've been building up to this your whole life. This is what you want. You've been preparing this your whole life for the playoffs. This is an inspirational speech right there. And then he's saying, you think this is hard? You think this is hard? Try playing in the playoffs in Europe. They're going to shoot lasers at your eyes. Like, that's fucked up. They're shooting lasers at people's eyes and setting things on fire in EuroLeague playoff games and stuff like that. I'm like, whoa, fans over there. Okay. They're throwing bottles. That's why they don't sell bottles in our country at games. You don't get no glass bottles at nothing. No arenas anywhere, nowhere in North America. No, you don't. No, you don't. But yeah, Darko could say that to them. You think this is hard, Raptors? Well, just try and play over there. At least you don't have lasers shooting at your eyes. Yeah, Scotty be like, damn, I'm glad I don't play in Europe. They'd be shooting lasers at my eyes. Man, I don't want that. Chloe saying this, psych for that movie, Lex, Disclosure Day. Before Idiot came into office, I was all into the UFO stuff, but now there are plenty more important, scary shit things going on. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know much about the movie, just that Steven Spielberg said something this week about how the movie is kind of based on real events, like reality. And I'm like, oh, shit. Okay. Well, this is crazy. Kaloy saying that Apollo Bencher is called no GA because there's no jumper. That's hilarious. That's pretty good. I like that. Neil's saying Raptors already declared what their goal is and what they expect to get out of it. No skipping steps on the road to success. Yeah, some ways people keep saying we're playing with cash money. We have succeeded this year no matter what. And honestly, we have they have all kinds of ways they could fail and be in a bad place. If we lose, well, people are expecting that, obviously, because they've made it very clear. And well, if we go beyond what they expect and we win and we're successful, well, that's crashing out for Cavs Nation. And in some ways, it's like, let's go, Raptors, and let's see how far we can go. and if we get to the second round. So, we'll just have to see, man. We'll just have to see. These guys are very serious. And, one of the things that they could learn is go talk to Alvin Williams. Go talk to Alvin Williams, Boogie Williams, who calls the game for Rogers Sportsnet, and ask him about his playoff experience. And he'll tell you, guys, I made it to the playoffs in 2001 with Vince, and we got to the Eastern Conference semifinals against the Sixers. And we had an epic series against Allen Iverson, and we almost beat them, but Vince's shot was just off, and we didn't get past them. They got to the finals against the Lakers. That is the furthest I ever got in the playoffs. Don't squander these opportunities. I never got another chance to get as far in the playoffs. At that time, I thought I would get more chances, but I didn't. So, Scotty, you could go talk to Alvin Williams before the series and say, like, look, don't squander these opportunities when you get them, because none of this shit is granted and given to you every year. Seriously, getting the playoffs is special. And that opportunity to try and go far in it and do as well as you can, don't count on it ever, being always the time. Like, it's just going to happen. I didn't get a chance again after that time with Vince in 2001. So don't squander this. That would be a powerful speech right there, is Boogie Williams talking to the Raptors in that kind of way. Darko, go get him and bring Alvin into the locker room and get Alvin to tell this speech, to tell this story, because he's told it on the broadcast. And I've heard him talk about it. And he's like, man, little did I know that was the furthest I'd ever get in the playoffs. And in some ways, that's fleeting. And that is something that is not, always going to happen. So don't take this opportunity lightly. Seriously, I think y'all will make the playoffs many years to come, but there's no guarantees on anything. And you got to go when you get the chance. That's what I'm saying right there. That's it right there. Kareem's saying Raptors are fucking built for the playoffs. We rank 5th in defense. We have Scotty, who's a top 10 in blocks and steals. Cavs are a horrible free throw shooting team and rank 25th. Also, they rank 7th in fouling. We're built for this. That's actually true. And that's part of the whole genius of Darko. It's like, look, some teams may build their team to, just play and get better, but his vision is encapsulated in the idea that we're going to have to be in the playoffs and playing in meaningful games that are high pressure. And our style has to fit all that and to be successful in the ideas of what it takes to win in the playoffs. And that's the way we've been training all along. That's part of the reason why we're a try-hard team, a team that goes all out and plays all over the place. And that's why we practice this for 3 years. We're not like some of these other teams that may coast throughout the regular season and then they try to switch to another gear in the second season. No, we've been playing a certain way this whole time, and we need to just continue to do what we've been practicing, but do it at the high level, the exceptional level, the very good level that I talked about in the range of what can possibly be with the consistency of the Raptors. We can be a dog shit team, but we can be an elite team also. And that's the thing. Which Raptors are going to show up tomorrow? And this Raptors team has practiced for this the whole 3 years. That is part of it right there. We're built for this. That's right. We're built for this. Kaz is saying good morning. Good morning to you, Kaz. Good to see you. It's Friday, TGIF. That's right. That's right. Neil saying champions are forged, not manufactured. Losses build character, and wins are a result of commitments coming true. There you go. I like that. We need Neil in the locker room too. He can be an assistant coach for one day. Just come in there and tell him that. Neil, I like it. Medved Ted saying Jared Allen saying he's not 100%. Kenny Atkinson mentioning individual success. I think as a team, we have a much greater desire to win than the Cavs. We just have to bring the hunger and effort. A Cavs fan wrote, J.A. is so full of it. Jared Allen is so full of it. Shit, he bumped his knee up a month ago, and he's still crying about it. Every time the playoffs is near, he's crying about an injury. I'm surprised his eyes aren't injured from the lights being too bright. Dang. So their own fans are coming after Jared Allen, maybe a little soft. Maybe they're a little pissed off because he's already showing signs of weaknesses. That's interesting. That's very interesting. I think this is true. I think that the team that wants this more will get it. And if you go by earlier this season, the Raptors wanted to beat the Cavs more than the Cavs wanted to beat us. And that's why we were 3-0 on them. And one of those games we beat them in was an in-season tournament game. So it's like we played against them in a meaningful game and beat them in an in-season tournament game. So it's like, I don't know why people forget this shit. I don't know why people forget this shit. And they're aware of this. This is what Darko's coaching them as. It's like whoever wants it, who wants it more, who's hungrier, is going to win this series. And from what Medvedev's telling me here is there's cracks on the other side that they're trying not to look at and overlook, and maybe they just don't want to like pay close attention to. That's right. Trevor's saying this: the Nuggets versus Indiana game 2026-27 will be in Mexico City. Okay, that's general NBA news. Kaz is saying Scott is first team all defense. What the fuck? Two finger salute to these bum ass analysts. OG is not better defender than Scott. Stop this mess. Yeah. I mean, I guess you're watching from earlier when I went over Tim Bontemps' selections for all defensive team. Well, at least Scotty's on the second all defensive team. At least, I mean, there is some representation for our guys this year with Colin, Jamal, and Scotty on their lists. There's quite often Tim Bontemps will come out with his end of the season awards list, and there's no Raptor representation at all. So in some ways, that's at least a step up for that. But I do feel like he's shading Scott, and he's not giving him his full credit for sure. Your prediction is Raptors in 7. That's kind of what I've been saying too. But I like Raptors in 6 better. I do. That's for sure. Trevor's saying tempo in City of Toronto to develop world-class performance center. Yeah, we already talked about that. Kaz is saying, funny, when OG was on the Raptors, he couldn't sniff first team all defense. Now he's on Knicks, and surprise, he's first team. Fuck out of here. Yeah. Yep. We knew this was going to happen. We called it when he got traded. That day we did. You could probably go back to the stream that day and say, well, now OG's going to get all the defensive accolades finally. We said that shit that Saturday when he got traded for RJ and Emmanuel. I know I said that on the stream. Well, at least OG's going to get more recognition now. That's kind of what I was saying. Stargate saying Mobley is also dealing with a nagging calf injury as well, a hush-hush as it is. Yeah, and those two guys are very important for them. We can be honest. Jakob's not 100%, although Darko's very adamant he's fine. They asked him yesterday, said, what's going on with Jak? How's his health right now? What's going on with Jak? Jak is fine. Jak is great. Jak is doing good. That's what he said. My eye test, the last couple games of the regular season, Jak was moving a little bit slower, and his back may have been a little seized up a little bit. But who knows? This week could do wonders for him. And Jak, when he gets asked about his back, he said, oh, it's not a problem anymore. It's fine. I mean, I'm going to listen to him. Maybe they're being proprietary. Maybe they're keeping a hush-hush. Maybe they're doing the opposite of Jared Allen and not bitching and whining about it and just going through it and grinning. But, Jak's saying he's self-assessing himself as being fine. That's something that Sandro liked about the Raptors. He said that, you could go to the training staff and talk to them about anything going on with you, and they're very much proactively helping you in any kind of way. I mean, shit, you could have a hangnail, and they'd probably come and help you with it. That's the kind of medical and training staff and training center and training facilities that you want. You want that kind of stuff. A juice bar. You want a chef that's on site so that they can make something for them if they're hungry all of a sudden. You want the ability to go down to the gym at 4 a.m. in the morning, Sandro, to put up shots. And whoa, Jacoby's already in here. What's going on? Yeah. These are things that are top-notch, high-level stuff for pro teams now to have these kind of amenities so that they can perform at the highest level. That's dietitian. That's massage therapy. That's hydrotherapy. And those pools that Grady and Sandro are jumping around in the other day on that TikTok. Be careful, Grady. You're not supposed to run near pools, is what I would say. I saw that footage of you and Sandro in the hydro tubs, and you shouldn't be running around pools like that. You could hurt yourself. Slug Deezy saying Raps in 4. I love it. Slug Deezy, King of the Classic Cars, saying it's a sweep. I love it. I'm gonna have to go get my broom. Hopefully, we'll see. I'll bring a broom on the show if we do sweep, though. Medvedev saying use it as a chip on their shoulders, as Darko said. That's right. This is a chip on their shoulders. This is. Sandro's feeling it. I could tell the way he was talking yesterday. He was very, very feisty. Very feisty and very like, bring it. Yeah, you said this shit. He even like kind of talked about his early days in the NBA where he was a nice guy that was just trying to make the league. And the evolution of him from being on the Bucks and being in the playoffs with the Bucks and Giannis and, not getting to play. He really kind of only sat on the bench and did get into action, but feeling that energy, At that point, he's just trying to make the league. I mean, he was on 10 days, he was on 2 ways, and then he got full-fledged, and now he's more bona fide with us. So in some ways, and Alessandro talked to me about this during the year too, when I'd see him at games, is Sandro's just such a humble, nice guy. He has to build a killer instinct. And I think in that interview yesterday that the public saw, that's Sandro coming of age with like, yeah, I am a dude who's powerful. And I may have been a sheepish kind of nice guy who kind of was just talented and was making the league. But now I'm growing into my powers and I'm growing more confident and I'm more willing to be a tough guy and not so nice guy. And I'm ready to do this. I'm about it, is what he's acting like. And I love that, man. You go on, Sandro. And they have chips on their shoulders. Brandon said there's a lot of idiots on social media yesterday. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of idiots on social media that don't know what they're talking about. That's what Brandon Ingram said yesterday in his interview. These are chips on their shoulders. People told Brandon, you're washed. Oh, you may never come back from your injury. Well, he's got some shit to prove. He's got some shit to prove, and I hope we see it tomorrow. Because honestly, Ingram's the kind of player that can get to a level like Kawhi, and I want to see it. I want to see it. I really do. Yeah. KT saying Atkinson starts Mobley and Allen together. After that, he staggers them, making them weak inside. Mobley is scared of Barnes, and let's not forget Barnes suplexed Allen fighting for the ball. Yeah, I kind of remember that too. Yeah, I mean, I was analyzing this yesterday on the show and saying they're kind of light on depth at the front line. They have those two guys, and they are very good, but they may be slightly hurt. And after that, who they have? This quality big man after that? Thomas Bryant, Naquan Bolt, Tomlin. Who are they relying on after Mobley and Allen? And is this a case where the Raptors actually have better frontline depth than the Cavs? And that people aren't talking about it that way. People aren't saying anything about that. That's why I was saying yesterday a good strategy for Darko might be get one of those two guys in foul trouble. Put Allen in foul trouble and watch and see. It may be very smart to put the ball in Scotty's hands in the post and let him work against those two guys to try and get fouls on them from the start. You get Evan Mobley or Jared Allen in foul trouble, they get real thin up front all of a sudden. And then you start really going in on them with RJ, Scotty, and Brandon near the basket. Yeah. Brandon talked about this yesterday in his interview. It's like, I want to get all three going. Sometimes when I get all three going, it's over for the other team. That means at the rim. He likes to get downhill and go at the rim like we've been seeing more at the end of the season. Brandon, very aggressive at the start of the game to go get a layup or a dunk before he even takes a jump shot. Get that established. His mid-range is always going to be there to a degree. But then you got to check and see if his three-pointer is hitting too. And he said if he can get all three going, it's game over for them. And that's his goal, is that with Ingram, we're going to have to watch him to get successfully all three aspects of his game going. Then they can't know how to guard him. If he's hitting his three and he's a drive threat and his middies going too, it's big trouble for Cavs. And they're not talking about this enough. It's not like their defenders for Ingram are very good. In some ways, they might need Mobley to guard Ingram. Because what? Is Dean Wade going to guard Ingram? Are they going to put James Harden on Ingram? Like, what the fuck is that going to look like? There could very well be a huge mismatch problem for Kenny Atkinson just because Brandon Ingram with his length and his size. And if he takes people away from the front line, like Mobley and Allen, from Barnes and Jakob to go get Ingram, well, what are we going to do with Ingram? And what are we going to do with Barnes and Jakob then? Yeah, they're spread thin up front. They have two guys. They're, Jared Allen's a half all-star, if you ask me. But they have two guys that are all-star caliber that, are very prominent and well-known. But after that, what do they have? That's what I keep saying. You get one of those guys in foul trouble, that could be a key to winning right there. That could be a key to winning. And if they have to, who's the fuck is going to guard Brandon? That's what I'm saying right now. Dean Wade. You can put Dean Wade on Brandon. You don't even have DeAndre Hunter or Karis LeVert anymore to do this. In some ways, those guys were adequate kind of guys to run around with Brandon because they have some of the length to keep up with him. But really, the rest of them, they're either too slow or they're not tall enough. And Brandon Ingram's mid-range will go over their heads and easily through the basket in a consistent basis in this series coming up. I mean, that's what I kind of see right here. I kind of see that. Yeah, Kaloy's saying no one's in the Cavs is equipped to guard Brandon. I think this is very true. I mean, I just kind of went over it just now. I think this is very, very true. Yeah. Kaloy's saying Darko's bringing the right energy. This is what I like with having a Serbian coach. No one can make him blink. Yeah. This is what they lived for. You know, they trying to act like Darko, this is such a huge accomplishment. You made the playoffs. You're the first European coach to make the playoffs. And he's like, I don't care about that accolade. That don't mean jack shit to me. There's barely any European coaches. So, of course, okay, so what? Yeah, in some ways, you should take the kudos, and we will for you on this channel. Congratulations, Coach Darko. You're the first ever European coach to make the NBA playoffs as a head coach. That's a big deal. It's a big deal to me. Nobody will talk about that stat or make a big deal out of it on mainstream NBA, but I'll do it here. So yeah, Darko, in some ways, it's like, look, he's been through all kinds of high-level basketball kind of playoff kind of stuff in Europe. You know, he's been through some real battles in Spanish league. And there is a level of compete and excellence and things like that he has from his past that we don't look at or even factor in, because the NBA doesn't really count EuroLeague kind of stuff or think about it or give any prestige or kind of stuff like that. There is a history with Darko with high-level games. It's just not in the NBA. And that's the thing, that in some ways there's a knowledge base that people don't even give any credit to about Darko that could be very handy in this series we're starting tomorrow. Very, very handy. Yeah. Uji Buji saying this, very much looking forward to the series. The post-practice interviews shows the team ready to work and hit the playoffs as a unit in order to try and knock Cleveland down right away. Got to hit them. This is actually another aspect that's in our favor, is that we really are in the foxhole together. Darko's culture is sublime. He does such a good job of making them all connected and all for one, one for all. And then also no egos and really celebrating each other's wins and victories. How much of that is going on with Cleveland on the down low? And in these situations, when you get adversity, when you get some losses or you get some things going the wrong way, how quickly do your players turn on each other? How quickly do they point fingers? James Harden. How quickly, how will they stay together when it gets tough? That's the thing. Our team's tested for this. And our team, and to me, I have full confidence that our team will be a team through and through, no matter what happens with them, win or lose. But I can't say that for Cleveland. Who knows? Dennis Schroeder's on their team. Yeah. Who knows? There could be personalities in the way that their culture is built and the new acquisitions in the middle of the season with James and Dennis and Keon Ellis. There could be some weird stuff where they're not as tight as we are because they don't have Darko, the culture setter, and they don't have the conga line with Jared Allen, or not Jared Allen, Garrett Temple. They don't have the conga line. They don't have that. They don't have the stuff that we have. They don't have the Riz. They don't have the aura. They could have a problem with us. We knock them in the face and punch them real good at the beginning of the series, give them controversy and adverse circumstances. They could turn on each other to a degree. They could fall a little bit apart. It could be like Adam's like, man, you're not like Darius. Like, dude, I don't like you, bro. I was like, yeah, fuck you. I'm James Harden. You know, it's like this shit could happen. This shit could happen because the playoffs will test your team unity. The playoffs can make people start finger pointing within. And our team is very good about not doing this. We've been in these situations through the season, and we've gone through it, and we've been very successful at not turning on each other when situations have been bad over the last 3 years. Because there's a system and a way that Darko uses it and does it. He made it very clear yesterday. He said something that I've been saying to you guys for a couple of years. And it's true, and it was verified yesterday. They asked him about Garrett Temple and why he's on this team and what he does. And Darko said it very plainly. Garrett Temple is my ears in the team, and he comes and tells me what's going on with the team when they can't necessarily talk to me. So it is true what I said. Garrett is inside with the team in the team spaces as a player on the team, and he can report back to Darko, and he does this regularly. And he tells like kind of little things about different players on the team that's helpful to knowledge, so that Darko can be aware of all kinds of situations that are going on with the players. You know, you can call him a snitch. You could call him the babysitter. You could call him, you know, whatever you want, but he's not snitching and it's not toxic. It may be as simple as like, yeah, Darko, you know, just so you know, Shed's not feeling that great today. He was coughing this morning. Maybe we go easy on him, or this little shit. Like, oh, there was a little bit of a weird argument between these two guys the other day or something like that. You know, he's keeping Darko tabs on the players as a player on the team from within. And he let this out like in the interview yesterday. Yeah, I get information from Garrett about the players. He reports to me and tells me what's going on all the time. That's smart. That kind of stuff keeps you from infighting. That kind of stuff keeps you together. And I don't know. I would say if you stress test the Cavaliers and the Raptors, we're going to stay together through adversity better than them because they have James Harden. And not to mention, like I said, I love Dennis, but Dennis is a very high standards kind of compete guy. And if he feels like anybody on the Cavs ain't coming correctly, he may get in their face like he has in the past already. And that can cause underlying currents of tension and not connectedness right there. Dennis could actually be a real X factor for us in a good sense. And I love him for it. And that's why sometimes he gets traded so much, is because he's like Chris Paul. He's one of these old vets that will tell it like it is, and he has no filter, and he doesn't give a shit if you like him or not. Because in some ways, he's just going to say what he has to say because he believes in helping the team be the best they can, and real talk is part of that. Some people don't want real talk, and they're living in their own little world like James Harden. It may clash. It may very well clash, this kind of setup with their team. I'm telling you right now, that's right. I'm telling you, I really do believe nobody is equipped to guard Brandon Ingram. I think you're right, Kaloy. Stargate saying this. I love Darko. The way he deals with the media is so funny. He intellectually insults them without them even realizing it, telling them they ask stupid questions without actually saying it. Yeah, he's got really savvy at this. And I love how he turns their bullshit into rainbows. Sometimes they come at him with turd questions, very pessimistic, dumbass questions. And Darko's like, oh, I don't see it like this. And then he turns it into an opportunity to compliment his players or say something in a good aspect. No, he's really good with the media. He's very savvy. You know, I had concerns when we hired Darko. I wasn't sure how like North Americanized he is as a Serbian man who's a European coach. But man, he is so like, this is why he's gotten to this level of who he is as a European coach, is because he is savvy. He's very media savvy. He's very socially savvy. He's very, 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 very social. And it's been a real strength of his. And that leads to his relationship with the media. And, you know, he's a lot more comfortable 3 years in now that he can be a little bit more of himself. In the beginning, he had to make a good first impression, be a little, get instilled and installed as the coach and to get his footing. He may have been more diplomatic and a little bit more working with them. But now, yeah, exactly what Stargate's saying. He's left-handed complimenting them sometimes. And in some ways putting them down. And it's awesome. I love it. I love it. Him, RJ, Manuel, they all do this. They all do this. They come at them with questions. Like there was another one. They asked Jacoby. It was Eric Corrine, fucking piece of shit. Dumbass Eric Corrine of The Athletic. Jacoby, do you get advice from RJ Barrett? And how bad is it? And what is the worst thing he's ever given you advice on? What does Jacoby do? Does he take that bait? He says, RJ's good, man. He gives me good advice. He told me that to just be ready. This is going to be a long series, and there are going to be ups and downs, and to not get too in your head and just ride with. You know, he doesn't take the bait from Kareem. He's trying to say, what is the bad advice that RJ gave you? Like, what the fuck kind of question is that, Eric Kareem? Two-finger salute to you, dumbass. No, Jacoby's above it, and he didn't even take the bait. Instead, he espouses on how great RJ's been as a vet towards him and teaching him the NBA. See, it's shit like that, man. It's just annoying, man. It's so stupid sometimes, the media questions. Uji Bougie saying we have to watch their shooters on the bench and take care of the ball against Dennis and Ellis. Yeah, this is a key that Darko brought up. He has a lot of respect for the shooters on their team. The way he's kind of describing their team is like, well, you got the backcourt. Those two guys are very dangerous. They're foul baiters, and they're going to be very high-level offensive weapons. He said it's really hard to stop them. In some ways, you can't totally stop them. You just try and contain them. And then you got the two big guys down low. And when Darko talks about that, he said, this is the battle where we need to win, is the down low battle for rebounds and defense and stuff like that with the front court. But then the third dimension to the Cavs that he brings up is the shooters, the array of shooters they have on their bench, and watching out for them. That trade-off with the shooters is they may be pretty good shooters, but they're not the best defenders. And that's the trade-off there that maybe we can exploit. We have to definitely not let Max Strus get open looks. For sure, he is somebody they got to go get. But you know what? We need to get Battle out there too and see if Battle can get a little of that magic that he had that one game when we beat the Cavs earlier this year, where he went off and got like 6 3-pointers in the last 2 quarters and helped us beat the Cavs himself. So, we're going to have our guys that are supposed to be great 3-point shooters like Battle, Walter, Dick, Mamu, Shed. They all need to be hitting their threes, because on the other side, they're going to be expecting Merrill and Strus and Dennis and people like that to be hitting theirs too. So, yeah, that's an important point. Josh Monroe's here. Good to see Raptor Freak Josh Monroe. Bench play is going to be crucial. Have some guys who still are new to playing this type of level and sustained for 4 or more games straight. They will power and staying connected going to be tested. Yeah. I mean, these are where the different things are going to be battles. Sure. Mobley versus Barnes. Who's going to win that battle? Ingram versus Harden. Who's going to win that battle? But then the bench versus the bench. The Raptors bench versus the Cavs bench. Who's going to win that battle? And can we have a better bench than them, even if it's inexperienced? And these are untested guys who have not gotten a taste of this yet. I have a lot of faith in 3 of our young players that have never played in the playoffs, and that's Colin Murray-Boyles, Jacoby Walter, and Jamal Shed. All 3 of those guys are winners, and they play a certain kind of way that seems like it would thrive in the intensity of the playoffs. So that's what I want to see. We know Shed's a dog. He's going to go all out. We know Jacoby's dialed in. He's unconscious, and he's done things the right way. And we know Colin Murray-Boyles is a freak of nature with his strength and his knowledge already as a rookie already, ready to have a huge impact in the playoffs in his first year. Some people say, wow, it's something to be a lottery pick and just to be in the playoffs. That's not always common. They asked him that yesterday when Colin had his interview. He said, yeah, this is special. This is awesome that I'm getting postseason in my rookie year. He had his hood up yesterday in the interview, and with his hair covered up, he looks so much like Charles Barkley. You can go look at that interview with Colin Murray-Boyles yesterday and tell me he doesn't look like a young Sir Charles. Seriously, he's got the same facial structure as him, same shaped head, and even some of the same features. It looked just like Charles. It's crazy. When he covers his hair, it looks even more like that. It's so weird, man. Stargate saying, I agree with Uji Bougie. Jump on Cleveland early, crush their confidence, and take their crowd out of it early. Yeah, these are great strategy. I'm sure that Darko and Pat and Coco and Jama and all them are saying this kind of stuff to the Raptors. Like, this could be a very sound strategy, is to deflate them immediately, and that could set the tone for the whole entire series. If we win game 1, it really is a huge thing, guys, because we get the home court advantage after that. And we know Scotiabank Arena is going to be really good for us in the playoffs. We are not going to be fucking around when they play here. We are not. Now, if the refs try and do shady shit, and Darko was asked about this, he said, there's a lot of things about the playoffs that you have to figure out. And from game to game, it could change. We're going to have to see how the refs whistle and how they call fouls on them and how they call fouls on us. He said this all explicitly, that, this is the stuff that we're going to have to be quick to adjust to. So he made a really big highlight about adjusting and being quick on the fly and being fast to understand what's going on in the parameters of the game, whether it's what the Cavs are doing, that are doing well or they're not doing well, what the referees are calling for them or for us, We have to be aware and adjusting at all different times and just try and make the best of things. We cannot control the whistle. In some ways, we have bad memories of bad whistle against the Cavs in the playoffs with LeBron. That's absolutely true. Part of the myth of LeBronto is that the referees absolutely railroaded us with ref manipulation in all kinds of different ways. The series that we played against LeBron James and the Cavs in the lead up to our championship. There's no doubt this is true. We were absolutely 8 versus 5. And they were storyline writing, and they were not making it fair for us. The refs were absolutely against us in those situations. Now, will this happen without a LeBron around? Is James Harden a big enough star for them to do this the same thing? We have to be ready for them to possibly do this still, even if LeBron's not around. That the refs, it could very well be a whole series where it's not just 8 versus 5. It's the association versus 5, where the NBA's whole apparatus is against us beating the Cavs. But you know what? They did that to us in 2019 too. It was the whole league versus the Raptors too in that championship run. So there is a way to do it. It's just that it's not the easiest route because they're not going to lay out the red carpet for you and let you just walk down it like they would for some of the franchises in this league. So that's the thing. We got to be ready for this. And Darko's very cognizant of this. He said it explicitly in an interview this week that we're going to have to pay attention to how tight they're going to be calling the whistle, and we're going to have to adjust accordingly. And it'll be different personalities with the refs. At least we have a good knowledge of this from this channel and being able to assess the ref crew that we get tomorrow and how it could be a factor. And I can kind of handicap whether this is a good crew or not because of my work with the ref report. So we'll kind of know going in if it may be a suspicious crew or not. And this could be a factor. You know, we don't need them to write the storyline through the refs and say, yeah, no, Raptors, you are supposed to lose, because the referees are going to be very biased and they're not going to be letting you do anything. You know, we'll have to see. Let's see. Uji Bougie saying we need RJ to be a dog. I want him locked to Harden and quick and shed on Mitchell. Use Brandon against the smaller handsy bench unit and post against starters. You know, Brandon made an interesting comment yesterday. He said for this playoff series, he wants to be ready to do anything for the Raptors to help them win. And obviously his offensive game is a big part of it, but he made an emphasis on, I will do whatever I need to do defensively to help the Raptors win. Could it be that they might put Brandon on James Harden? Because that would be interesting. If you think about matching up the starting lineup, sure, Scotty on Evan, Jakob on Jared, whichever guard, whether it's Jacoby, Shed, or IQ on Mitchell. But you could switch the other two, and you could put Ingram on Harden and let RJ play Wade. And that way, RJ doesn't have the most strenuous defensive assignment, and he can work harder on offense. Or you could do it the other way. You could say, yeah, you're playing Wade, Ingram, and you don't have as stressful a defensive assignment, and you can put more energy into the offensive end. You can go either way, and I'm sure they'll try both. You know, RJ will have to guard James Harden for parts of this series for sure. But if they want, they could try Brandon on Harden. And that extra length could work really well. Plus the time served in the league and kind of playing Harden for like a decade now. I'm sure that Brandon has a scout on James. And if Ingram's more dedicated to putting more effort on the defensive end of the court, who knows? We may see some really surprising defensive wrinkles with Brandon Ingram in this first round series. And since it's a spotlight for the whole NBA to see, people may be like, whoa, this is not the Ingram that I know. This Ingram's rebounding. This Ingram is blocking shots. This Ingram's actually a defensive presence. Wait, this is weird. This could happen. Because, people aren't paying attention to us for most of the year. And Brandon Ingram on the defensive end has shown itself from time to time throughout the season, especially near the end of the season. But it wasn't consistently always there this whole year. But if he's concerted an effort, two-way player in this first round series against Cleveland, this could open a lot of eyes to people with Brandon Ingram as a more complete player. And he could actually extremely help us as another shot blocking threat out there another rebounder, and a lanky, long defender with long wingspan. There's a whole aspect of Brandon that'll help us besides that I can be a Kawhi Leonard and take over the game and make a bunch of baskets for us too. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Stargate saying, I can see James and Dennis not getting along. Yeah, I can see that too. I can totally see that. Uji Bougie saying, for sure, those two are very volatile personalities. Both can become finger pointers. Yeah. Well, James, if he's not happy, he will check out. He will stop. He'll quit on you. You can think about when they hired Nick Nurse, he quit on the Sixers. He said, no, I'm not playing for him. He made them trade him out. He would not play for Nick Nurse. As soon as they hired Nick Nurse, James was out. He can get to places with people. Trust me. He can get to places with people. Fiercely saying Skylar Diggins is the best comparison to Dennis Schroeder. That's why she butts heads with the organization she plays with. She calls out players and voices when she's not happy with the team. Hence why people are jokingly saying Chicago Sky better step up and be more professional. Interesting. Medved Ted saying Darko convinced his boss, Keith Pelly, all he needed to do is bring positive vibes to the Raptors. And Keith said he's happy to play that role. I like that. Keith, man, you can be hands off with the Raptors. I don't care what you do with any of the other teams in MLSE. You go ahead and meddle with the Leafs, but you can be hands off with the Raptors. You don't need to be involved with the Raptors. That's right. You don't know basketball. That's right. Uji Bougie saying Battle could very much be an X factor if he ends up in the regular rotation. I agree, Lex. He's sneaky at setting head screens and is just big enough to rebound at times. I mean, he's just as good a defender as Dean Wade. In some ways, I would say he's just as good a player as Dean Wade, just in general. And that's their starting small forward. I think Battle's just as good as him. I mean, I would like Darko to give him a really good chance in this one. It could very well be. It's like, I know that they shorten the rotations, and it's more likely that they're going to go to like an 8 or 9 man rotation, and it'll be like only Walter, Shed, and Mamu coming off the bench, or Colin, those 4, and that's it. But you may be really smart to employ Jamison Battle, Darko, just from the history from this year. Although Kenny Atkinson may have had nightmares from that game so bad that he has a strategy just in case you try and play Battle. I don't know. I say give a chance to all 3 of those guys off the bench as far as Battle, Dick, and Lawson for that possible 3-point shooting X factor that can help us in this series. Quick's out. Well, then we're going to bump up Walter or Shed to the starting lineup, or maybe even they start Murray-Boyles and have a really big lineup. They could do that. If you think about it, they could do that. I don't know how that looks with guarding Mitchell and Harden, but if you have Scotty at point guard, RJ at shooting guard, and Brandon at small, and Colin at 4, and Jakob at 5 to start the game, that could be a huge nightmare for Kenny Atkinson. If you think about it, that could be, seriously. You start all them, you put Murray-Boyles in the starting lineup. And then you got Mamu, Shed, and Walter, and Battle coming off the bench as the 9 guys off the bench. That's not a bad lineup for tomorrow. That could be very interesting. If that big lineup with Scotty slotted at the point guard, if you have trouble where the little guards are getting around the bigger lineup and we can't guard them right, then you bring in Shed and Walter to kind of try and slow them down. That could work. We'll have to monitor quickly status and see what's going on with that. I may be like advocating for that. You know what? Let's do this real quick. Let's do this. We're going to do a poll. I know I'm at 2 hours right now, and maybe I should be wrapping up soon. But who would you start if IQ is out? And I'll put the 3 guys down. I'll put Jacoby, Jamal, and we'll put in Colin. We'll just put CMB. I don't feel like writing it all out. And why don't we put Grady just for old time's sake? Who would y'all start in that question? That's your poll of the day. Let's see what y'all are saying. Who would you start if IQ can't play tomorrow? Let's see what you guys are saying. Yeah. All right. Let's keep going in the chat. Stargate is saying this. Remember, Jamal is coming from a program that went far in the NCAA tournament. He's a winner, and he plays big for those games. And that's what Walter said on his behalf. He said, I know Maul's the same way. He feeds off the energy. He feeds off the crowd. He feeds off of the stakes and the intensity of it. He feeds off of it. It makes him go to new levels. That's what he said about Shed, and he says about himself too. And I could see that. I could see that. Let's see. Uji Bougie saying Darko's interview reminded me of the vein of Greg Popovich. His air of confidence and work ethic breathes when he speaks of strategy. He's looking forward while speaking positively on our position. Yeah, I like that comparison. That's a great coach to emulate. And if you're moving like him in interviews, it's entertaining. Because Greg Popovich was a tough interview sometimes, but also a very heartfelt, intelligent interview. Also could be very political too. And I have so much respect for the great Popovich. Great Greg Popovich. That's right. Gillette's in shambles. Stargate saying that's a problem lineup for Cleveland if Raptors start calling. I know that what I just described. The minute I'm thinking about it more, I'm like, whoa, would you do that, Darko? I mean, there could be folly with Scotty being at point guard and not having a ball handler in the right way. Although RJ and Brandon have been doing a lot of it too, so that it's tough. Could that be the right idea? Could that be it? This is interesting. I like this question. Okay, so far you guys are more heavy on Jacoby starting, but I mean that's what we've been doing recently, so it makes sense. That makes sense. Fiercely saying point guard to point guard, I would start Shed. If Scotty becomes the point guard, I would start Jacoby and sub Yak with CMB and Mamu. I mean, in some ways, you start really big with that lineup, but you're also kind of in some ways, you're starting your best 5 players with IQ out. You're starting your best 5 players. So you put Murray-Boyles in there. And you know how it is in the playoffs. You can be almost penciled in for almost 40 minutes as long as you don't have foul trouble. And that's a thing for Colin. He's got to really watch. The big adjustment for him is, and this is the area where the interaction with the refs is going to be having to be monitored. The refs really want to, and they've done this to certain players that have been defensive stalwarts for us in the past. Koloko, he get in foul trouble real early. Sometimes because he was doing it but sometimes it's because the refs want to take him out of the game. If they really don't want us to have Murray-Boyles at his full potential, they may call a lot of ticky-tack fouls on him, get him in foul trouble so he can't be in the game. That could be annoying. I mean, we can remember the last time we were in the playoffs and we were playing Philadelphia. One of the crucial games we lost was because in the first 45 seconds of the game, they threw 2 fouls on Fred VanVleet, and he got in foul trouble, and he couldn't be in the game for a part of the game. That's by design. That's ref manipulation. And that is a trick that they'll do. And because Colin is not totally aware of what the playoffs are going to be like, this could be a problem for Jacoby too. They may get in foul trouble because the refs don't respect them as young players who haven't really established themselves too much. And they may put them in foul trouble. And that could be a very manipulative way that the referees try and control the game. So we got to be careful for that. We got to be careful for that. Yeah. Let's see. Fiercey is also saying, or Uji Bougie saying, I could see that being a come out of the half lineup. Maybe. We'll just have to see how he plays it. If they start calling tomorrow, if IQ's out, I would be like, whoa, this is serious. This is going to be really cool. This could be very interesting. Very, very interesting. Fiercely saying, but Mamu at 3, Colin at 4, and Yak at 5 would be nice. I mean, that's the thing. Mamu can play 3. This lineup is very versatile. Our big men are versatile. Mamu and Colin can both play 5, but they can also play 3, 4 also. And Mamu would tell you he could play 2 or 1 too. He said he could play 6 the other day. He said, I play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm like, what is 6, bro? 6 man. That's what it is. Kaz is saying problem with CMB is we need spacing on offense. Maybe that's right. Jacoby inserted in the starting lineup. If it's IQ or Jacoby, that's spacing for sure. Maybe that's right. You would like to think that Brandon could provide that spacing or RJ, But I don't know. I mean, maybe that's right. I think Kaz might be right on that. Fierce's saying yak, not yan. Okay. Uji's saying start smaller, faster, and come out of the half big and handsy. I like that strategy. I like that strategy. Yeah. Yeah. You want to switch it up. You don't, not only do you want to switch up the type of defense you're doing, man to man, zone, this or that, trapping, not trapping. Maybe you want to switch up the look like that and like really throw them for a loop. I like that. I like that. I think you're right. I think that there's something to what Uji Buji's saying here. Mo Greg P is here. Good morning, Mo Greg P. Thank you for the subscription. And they're saying rim protection is key with Mitchell and Harden. Yeah. Yeah. We're not going to outguard those two. Yeah. Yeah. I would say this, and Darko's admitted this. Yeah. You're not going to be able to totally stop James Harden and Mitchell. I would say this Mitchell's more dangerous in some ways. Harden can get into a place where he's just not effective. They can use Harden and he could be like a 5 for 25 at the end of the game where he's just bricking and missing everything. So, that's what we want to do. These guys are going to be high usage. We know Harden and Mitchell are going to get a lot of shots. We just want to make sure they get bad shots and they're missing. And in some ways, it's like as Darko put it yesterday, we got to irritate them. We got to get physical with them. We got to bump them. We got to really get them out of their comfort zone. We're not going to be able to totally stop them, but if we can slow them down, we can wear them down. We can just make them annoyed. We know Jamal Shed can annoy people. So, that's the strategy there. It's like, the classic thing is like, you're not going to stop Michael Jordan, but you can try and stop everybody else and slow down Michael Jordan. So we'll try and slow them down. I gave this strategy earlier this week. It's like, there's proclivities that James Harden may go towards that are lazy and they're not very efficient. We could set the trap out to him and say, yeah, go ahead and do it this way because we know your percentages aren't so good doing it this way. And we'll give you that. But we're taking everything else away from you in the other ways that you could be more effective in helping this team win. There's a real science to that, especially with high usage, high level scorers. In some ways, I don't respect all these guys like everybody does. I didn't totally respect Allen Iverson when he played. So many people love Allen Iverson, but he had holes in his game and he wasn't an efficient player. And there's a lot of scorers in this league right now that are way more overrated. But to me, I don't think they're good quality players because they're not totally efficient. Anybody can get high volume on volume. But if you're not efficient, you could be actually hurting your team on the down low, even though you are the leading scorer and everybody thinks that. Think Trae Young, guys. Think Trae Young. And on the sliding scale of Trae Young and how detrimental he is in some ways for a team, James Harden's up there near him. Let's just be honest here. There are many games in the last few years for whatever team, the Nets, the Sixers, the Clippers, the Cavs, where James Harden has not had the most efficient stat line, where it may be a lot of turnovers and there may be a lot of missed field goals. So we could set traps out there. We can give him a little, we'll give you this, James. And it's something that we'd like to give him because it's likely that he's not going to be efficient. That's a strategy right there. And I hope the Raptors coaches are thinking this way and they're going to implement this because this is the kind of shit that can work, man. This is the kind of shit right here. That's right. Uji Buji saying, all I know is we are lucky to have options and I'm stoked to see this team put it work together. I will be here cheering them on either way. If I'm looking at the Raptors versus the Sixers and the last time we played, I feel like in some ways the Sixers had better talent than us. I don't know if this is true in this situation. The Cavs and us right now. Embiid, Maxey, and they had James Harden too on the Sixers then. That team was kind of stacked in some ways. And I mean, we had Fred, we had Pascal, we had OG, we had Scotty as a rookie, we had Precious, we had Gary. But in some ways, the matchup on paper, to me, in this situation, looks way better for us than the matchup did when we played Philly 4 years ago. Do you guys agree with me? Do you kind of see what I'm saying? The coach is in the 6. The coach is in the 6. Yeah. Stargate saying Mamu can play 3 without an issue. For sure. He played that for Georgia last summer. He was the 3 for Team Georgia in Euro basket stuff. That's right. Let's see. Harden is going to be hot and cold. Good one game and disappear the next. Yeah, this is probably accurate right here. This is probably pretty accurate. Stargate saying Mamu, Yak, and Colin with Scotty and Bi in the backcourt. If you really want a big lineup, especially at the end of the game, if it's close. Yeah, that's a huge lineup, and that is that is really a big lineup. That is like basically all 4 of our bigs with Brandon. That is pretty big lineup right there. Uji Bougie saying, got to keep Mitchell off the line for sure. More so than anything, make him take off balanced shots and Harden play like dribble happy James. If we can force them into contested middies, we can do well. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a certain level of giving them stuff that isn't best for them to do. We can cut off all the other options and kind of guide them to those kind of things. This could be key. This could be key. And hopefully we'll see some of this stuff unfold in this series. And y'all will be like, wow, we just talked about this on the Raptor Freak stream on Friday, the day before the series started. That look, they are actually doing what we said, where they're letting James and Mitchell do certain things, but they're inefficient somehow, some way. And that's leading to them losing and us winning. That's it right there. That's what we want to do. We'll give them some red herrings. We'll give them some avenues, the ones we want them to take. It's kind of like when we are playing on offense and the defense on the other team tightens everything up and they want Shed to take the 3. You know what I'm saying? They want Shed to take the 3 because they want to test him. Or like last year when nobody respected Scotty Barnes with his busted up thumbs and they left him alone on the 3-point shot. You know what I'm saying? You can play a defense a certain way that you want to kind of cater towards them trying to make this decision to kind of like, well, we kind of want you to do this. So we're going to lay off and we're going to give you this because we want you to do this because we know this isn't the best thing for you. That's it right there. That's it right there. Yeah, Jacoby's going to have to play very disciplined with his hands. He's going to have to be very, very smart. You know, some of the cookie jar stealing that him and Colin do that may have been not a foul in the regular season may get called as a foul in the postseason as bullshit, honestly. That's the thing. This league, as Darko said, has gotten more physical, and they're allowing more physicality. But at the same time, they red light, green light this shit. And sometimes it's a red light on the physicality all of a sudden, and we go back to old touch foul kind of bullshit. So it can very much be like that little kid's game you played out in the yard. Red light, green light. Oh, you can go now. Oh, you got to stop now. As far as physicality and being able to play all out defense. And it's like I said, it's very insidious and planned if they switch it in very calculated ways to in correspondence to runs by particular teams. That's annoying. That's annoying, man. Yeah. Mo Greg is saying, make the paint hard work for points. I think that's going to be a key stat. You know, the key stat for the year has been assist to turnover ratio. Of course, a classic stat that's always important for indicating who wins is who out rebounds who. But I think also points in the paint are going to be a stat that we're going to have to look at in this series after every game. Is it going to be Mobley and Allen and stuff in the paint from them? Or is it going to be our guys being grown up and going in there and being aggressive and taking the physicality and working real hard to get these points inside Scotty Barnes? Because in some ways, I want to win the points in the paint because I know we can get the rebound battle. We can get the points in the paint. You know, we do certain things, make our free throws. You know, it'd be nice to make more threes than them, but that may be the area that we don't beat them on because that's an area that we haven't done the best at this year. But if we do beat them at threes, that's great. That's made threes, not necessarily the percentage, just made threes. This could be a factor. Points off the bench. That's another one. Who's going to have more bench points? These are going to be all different things that contribute to who's going to be the victor, who's going to win this. So, yeah, those are the things right there. Stargate saying the problem with Cleveland is that both Harden and Mitchell love to hold the ball a lot. At least Garland would acquiesce Mitchell a lot. Harden will not do that for Mitchell, nor Mitchell for Harden. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember when they switched to Mitchell because their backcourt before was Garland and Sexton, right? Wasn't it Colin Sexton was in Cleveland and he was in the backcourt with Garland? Who was the guard that was running with Garland before Donovan Mitchell came in? I think it was Colin Sexton. And their lineup changed when Donovan came in because Garland was kind of the guy. this is totally true. Like Garland played like a traditional point guard and would actually really play that role off of Mitchell's shooting guard. But yeah, Harden is played more like a point guard in recent years. But yeah, in some ways, is he doing the same thing he did in Philly with Embiid and Maxey, like trying to just get assists in Cleveland? I don't know. I don't think so. Not in Cleveland. So there's more of a balance of him being more of a scorer and scoring himself with his learned knowledge in the last few years of being more of a playmaker and getting more assists too. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. But I do agree. There's only one ball. And you got Harden and Mitchell. There's still only one ball on a basketball court. There's still only one ball. Yeah, Raptors have a hungry bench, an inexperienced bench, but a hungry bench and a bench that is useful and has some very good players. We have a very good starting five. I think that the Raptors have one of the best starting fives in the NBA on the down low. And then you got guys like Colin, Jacoby, Jamal, and Sandro. These are really good bench players that have been playing at a high, consistent level for most of this year. So that's the thing. In the past, the Raptors may have had benches that were inconsistent or just disappeared or were flaky, a bit like Grady this year. But, Jacoby, he's been solid the second half of the season. Jamal Shed, you may not get all the scoring and everything from him, but you're going to get an effort and a defense from him night in, night out. And we've been seeing a lot that we could depend on Sandro and Colin, both of them also. So, yeah, hungry bench. That's a way to put it. All right, let me keep going in my tabs real quick, and we'll start wrapping up the show. My Raptors Redditor of the day is Champion Times 99. They have posted a stat, and this is accurate. I know it is. The only three teams in NBA history to beat both number one seeds in the same playoffs are the 1993 Chicago Bulls, led by Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, the 1995 Houston Rockets, led by Akeem Olajuwon, and the 2019 Toronto Raptors, led by Kyle Lowry. So listen, there's only three teams in the history of the NBA in their playoff run to get to the championship that beat the number one seed in both conferences. That is the stat that we're quoting here. And I appreciate Raptors Redditor of the Day, Champion Times 99, for bringing this up. Listen to those three teams. That's the Bulls' first championship, right? I think, no, it's not their first one. They won 91, 92, 93, right? So it's their third one. And then the Rockets' second one, and then the Raptors' first ever championship. Those are the only three teams in the history of the NBA that have ever beaten the number one seed on both sides of both conferences. And that means you have to beat the number one seed in the finals to do this. So I love that. That's a great post in Raptors Reddit, reminding people something like that. That's cool. We're going to say a happy birthday to one-time Raptor replacement player, Juwan Morgan. Juwan Morgan is his birthday today. He's 29 years old, out of Indiana. He was a Hoosier, and he came and played for us on a Boxing Day against the Cleveland Cavaliers with Yuta Watanabe and Chris Boucher. And we had half our team out with COVID, and they came in as four replacement players, Tremont Waters and Juwan Morgan and Daniel Oturu and people like that. Well, happy birthday to one of the Raptors replacement players, Juwan Morgan, who played one game for the Raptors. He scored 5 points and got 4 rebounds and assist in one game. He played 27 minutes in that game and only one game for the Raptors. So happy birthday to him. But much more important, I've said it a couple times already, it is Dwayne Casey's birthday today, guys. A coach of the year for the Raptors, architect of building us up with Masai Ujiri and Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. It is Casey's birthday. He's 69 years old today. Happy birthday to the Kentucky Wildcat, the Dallas Mavericks champion, the Toronto Raptor coach of the year, and current head office worker for Detroit Pistons. So happy birthday, Coach Case. We love you, man. You are a badass. And this channel gives you a lot of credit for the success of the Raptors and what you did. We look at you. I look at you in higher esteem than Nick Nurse right now. So, Casey, happy birthday, man. We love you. We love you, Coach Casey. That's your birthdays of the day. Y'all, a week from tomorrow, we're going to be doing our Raptor Freak WNBA fantasy draft. You're going to want to tune in and see the Raptor Freaks draft their fantasy teams. So come check it out around then. All right, let's see what else we got. Let's do the classic card. That's what we got next. All right, let's get on that. Let's get on that. Yeah, Harden and Mitchell are defensive liabilities. We need to work them both when they're on defense. I agree with this. I think this is true. Uji Bougie saying Jacoby and Jamal remind me of DeMar and Kyle. They're younger than when the latter two got together, but the vibes are building, and I can see chemistry that will last beyond the league. Yeah, these guys are actually they very much do have that bromance like Kyle and DeMar. You can tell from that open gym, the episode that came out on them in the last 2 weeks, that they very are tight, very tight. It's very similar for sure. Mo Greg saying he was a great regular season coach. Who? Oh, you mean Casey? Yeah, his playoff stuff was dubious, but we have to also remember Casey was the one running into LeBronto, and that was a specific kind of time with LeBron, and anybody was going to have that happen to them. It's not necessarily that Casey was a bad playoff coach. It's just that he had to deal with a specific time when James was on the Cavs and what they were doing at that time. And we have to remember that. I think any coach would get that label put on them, considering who LeBron was and what they were doing at that time. So, all right, here's the classic card of the day. It's pretty easy. So go ahead and go on and get it, y'all, if you know who this is. That's right. You think Jacoby and Grady are closer? I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. That's not Chris Paul. That's LaMarcus Aldridge. King of the Classic Cards got it on this weird ticket card with LaMarcus Aldridge is the classic card of the day. And Slug Deezy's got it just ahead of Kaz. Yeah, too tall, too tall. Yeah, that he looks tall on there for like Chris Paul. He looks tall for sure. Chris Paul did wear a Spurs jersey, so that would have fit. But yeah, Slug Deezy, the king of the classic cards, going to get the card. Unfortunately, I don't think this is a very hard card, so I'm going to give him 50 points for it because it's kind of easy. I think we've actually had this particular LaMarcus Aldridge card at some point too. I tried to get all the duplicates out, but I'm not totally good at that, getting all the duplicates out. Cheers on a W stream as always. Thank you, Uji Bougie. Yeah, thank you for respecting my grind. Of course, tomorrow we'll be doing the preview for the game. I'll have the refs, and we'll have the latest lineup news. And well, that game's going to be coming quick at 1 p.m. in the afternoon tomorrow. So we're going to try and have a quick, tight stream tomorrow so that people can go about their business and be ready for the 1 o'clock start. So, yeah, we'll be doing the regular preview for the game one tomorrow. And I'll have all the information on the referees that we need to know about who we're dealing with. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I don't know why you think Jacoby and Grady are closer. Jamal and Jacoby are very, very tight. They're like Lowry and DeRozan. They really are. I mean, you can tell because they burn each other and they're like kind of they crack on each other and they're just so playful the way they are with each other. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. W stream, W community. I appreciate that. Peace out, Mo Greg. Thank you for watching today. And I hope that you come back in the stream more often in the future and participate. That's right. All right. Oh, Straight Goods on Canadian Goods. Real quick, guys. If you want a nice, healthy snack that's Canadian, Dare, the company Dare, who does a lot of cookies, they have veggie crisps also. And I love this snack. This is very healthy. This is salt and vinegar flavor. And these are made from the stuff you see at the top. Like there's tomatoes and peas and different vegetables go in making these chips. And you can see the chips look all like vegetable-y. So this is kind of a healthy snack. And once again, this is manufactured in Canada by a Canadian company. And we want to support Canadian industry. So check out the veggie crisps. And I got salt and vinegar flavor here today. As a great, see there it is on the made in Canada. That's right. Made better, made in Canada. There you go. All right, there's your Straight Goods on Canadian Goods. Yeah, Stargate saying the ref report is going to be important. Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah, Uji Bouji's going to have brunch and ball, 1 p.m. start, wake and bake, coffee with the freaks. Yeah, that's about it right there. It's about it right there. I'll do the show, and then I'll do my bake, and then, I'll work out too. I got to do a hyper workout to get the workout in before the game starts because I do a lot of sets. I do like a set for each one of the players. So I'll do like 18 sets tomorrow between when I finish the stream. I might do some of the sets before the show, actually. I might get up early, like I was saying the Raptors should do to prepare for the game early. I might get up early and do a bunch of working out before I actually do the show at 9:30 tomorrow morning, just to be ahead. I'll take my own advice. Yeah. Stargate Stent Lex, I think the organization actually is privy to your ref reports. Well, they may be able to do it themselves. They may be able to do it themselves. Who knows? Maybe Eric Curry has that duty too. He's like, you got to review the challenges, Eric, but you're also got to check out the refs in the morning and tell us what you think. I mean, what I do for the ref report is number crunching and kind of handicapping and looking at proclivities, but also because I've been doing it for a few years now, I actually kind of remember the trends with each individual referee better than the average person. Like if you're just going to look at the stats on Basketball Reference or do that kind of stuff, you can read it and look at it, but you don't have the knowledge base of doing it for a while like me and understanding like the history of James Capers Jr. with the Raptors or Mark Davis or Tyler Ford or Eric Dalen. You know, there's different refs, Giamidis Petratus, Murat Kugat, all of them, you know, Ashley Moore Gleish. Yeah, we don't know them. That's right. That's right. Fiercely saying, my daughter had her prom dress fitting at 2 p.m. tomorrow. I reported it not to its the game priorities. What? I reported it not to its game. What? I don't understand that. Not to miss the game. Oh, I see what you're saying. Oji Bougie saying, I love the ranch veggie crisp. Dare also has the good break time cookies for $1.80 ish. Nice to dip in milk or coffee as a cheat. This man loves food. He's talking burgers the other day, and I bring this up, and he's all about going into the snacks now. Man, Uzi Bougie is living life like right. Is just really enjoying like this little things. I can tell this is a person that enjoys the little things and is living right. Living right. Yeah, somebody told me that once. I went to eat at a Pantheon on Danforth, a nice Greek restaurant that I highly recommend on Danforth and Greektown. And I'm eating there at like 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Nobody else in the restaurant. And I'm eating like a really nice meal. And the waiter came up to me and he said, you, sir, you know how to live the simple things and the best in life. And I was like, thank you. Thank you, Giorgio. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Cause he's like, look at this dude. This guy's just in here by himself eating an elaborate meal at a Greek restaurant at 2 p.m. in the middle of the day. And they're like, you, sir, you're living the life. And I would say that to Uji Bougie, just like Giorgio told me. That's right. Just like that. Absolutely a foodie. Absolutely a foodie. All right. Our final poll results are y'all are most comfortable with Jacoby Walters starting in the place of IQ, if that is a possible thing that happens. Shed is second. And you guys don't necessarily like Colin Murray-Boyles for coming in for that. Although that's an interesting look, that very big lineup with Murray-Boyles in replacement of IQ. Yeah, he's saying, I got to hit the weights more again. Heading into summer, the foodie is fun until it gets in a ball mode again. Love it. There you go. I love it, man. Uji Boogie's been an awesome addition to the channel. For sure. Sure. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me freak out today on, yeah, if you watch the beginning of the stream, you'll see me get really angry. But I feel like it's warranted. And we'll remember, once again, the main point is believe in your Raptors. If you're a fan, you should root for your team. You should not be so pessimistic to think that they don't have a chance. Like, what are you doing with your life? Are you mind controlled by the media and the negative people out there or Cavs Nation stuff? No, let's believe, just like Sandro and Scotty and Darko believe. So let's believe we can do this, and we're going to. I have a really strong feeling we're going to do this. And it's going to make a lot of things go crazy in the NBA world because people are not going to be ready for the Raptors to be successful again all of a sudden. They're not going to be ready for it. And it's going to be so much satisfying stuff for us, the Raptor freaks, when it happens. All right, I love you guys. Let's go tempo. Let's go Toronto Raptors. And let's win game 1 of the playoffs against the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow at 1 p.m. I'll see y'all tomorrow, 9:30 a.m., Raptor Freak channel. I'm out. Let's go.